And you're live.
Hi there, everyone. Welcome along to this incredibly unusual virtual expo. And of course, I think you have to be living in a box somewhere to not know that the whole world seems to have gone into lockdown. Unfortunately, Alexandra Palace has been cancelled, so we thought that we'd bring you an alternative virtual expo. The antidote to isolation, and hopefully we've got a few people in the chat, but I've got a whole load of guests coming on today to talk about, in the main, announcements that they might have been making at Alexandra Palace. And I've got on the line Fran Burke from Accurascale. Hi Fran, how are you doing?
Afternoon, Jenny. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. And I'm guessing it's mad where you are. It certainly is round here.
Yeah, I mean, it's unprecedented times, really, isn't it? It's been a very interesting experience, but we just have to get on with it. And yeah, I think people are trying to keep their minds. Unfortunately, St. Patrick's Day was cancelled here, which has not gone down well with a lot of people. But apart from that,
yeah, it's serious when Ireland cancels St. Patrick's Day, I have to say.
When the pubs are closed and St. Patrick's Day is cancelled, this just has to be taken seriously. But it's hopefully we come out the other side of it very soon, which should be the best we can hope for at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess that one of the things, if we look to the positive side of this, that it does mean that a lot of people have maybe got a bit more time to spend on their hobby, and all of those things that you think, well, if I had time, I'd do that. I'm guessing what we're seeing now is that a lot of people are starting to tackle a lot of those projects that maybe they've put off through lack of time, which it's great. And looking to the bright side of all of this, there's a lot of people in danger of getting cabin fever. They need entertainment, so I guess that's where we come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the things that you've announced this morning, 11 o'clock this morning, you officially announced the latest iteration of the Class 37, and this is coming out of the 37-4. So this is, I guess this kind of finishes off the range of Class 37s now that you've announced.
That's correct, yes. This was our Alexandra Palace announcement. Obviously, that show was cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic, but we wanted to kind of bring some good news and a little bit of cheer to model rally enthusiasts while this is going on. So we decided to push ahead with the announcement. This was part of our overall Class 37 plan, and it's the modern incarnation of Class 37-4 as rebuilt by DRS in the late 2010 or early 2010s, late 2000s. So we're offering 4 different livery options on this, because there's a lot of retro livery variants that have been done by DRS, including the large logo blue and Lord Hilton. Then we're doing an intercity mainline variant as well as regional railway concrete bob, which is yet to actually hit the rails. It's still in Derby, but it hasn't been released in traffic yet.
Right.
And then we're doing one in DRS plain blue as well. So they've got a really good reception since we announced them this morning, and they will be due in early 2021 and will be tooled and delivered alongside the rest of our Class 37 project, which we've obviously had 2 previous announcements on them so far.
Excellent. I'm hoping that we've got Zoe is hot off the emails. She's got the images, so we're hoping to be able to put some of them up on screen for people to be able to have a look at. But I must admit that for me, I'm incredibly pleased to see the intercity and the regional railways liveries. And when you've come to decide the liveries on these, has there been an element of people asking you for certain liveries that you've been able to feed through into the announcements and going for the things that people keep asking for?
Yeah, there is a bit of that. Obviously, we get more so asked for variations or variants rather than actual particular liveries. So with something like Class 37, so we get asked for Class 37-4 is very popular, variant of it. When it comes to liveries, we do look at kind of what has been released before. what's new and different, what do we like ourselves, and because we're all modelers ourselves and we all have an interest in it. And I know Concrete Bob in particular was one that we really pushed for because we really like the livery and it's new and it's ready just to come back on the main line. So there's an element of that, and there's an element of what's gone before, what people ask us for as well. We do listen to a lot of customer feedback and try to assist that as much as possible through social media and emails and stuff like that too. So there's a lot of different aspects we take into consideration before we put a range together.
I must admit, the 37.4 is, I guess, one of the most popular of the 37s, probably because of their association with things like the routes out to like Fort William and that up in Scotland, and across some of the most picturesque countryside that there is. And I'm sure that these are going to be incredibly popular. So hopefully we've got going up on screens. You shared with us some of the production artwork, and we've also got are these the CAD pictures, the ones in grey, or are they tests from the tooling?
The grey is actually the CAD renders,
Right.
So that is the CAD, and these are going into tooling in the next couple of weeks. So we've started on some of the 37 already, and then this is another part. It's a large process because there's so many variations across them. So this is why they'll come a little bit after the first ones we've announced.
Right. Actually, I must admit the CAD images do look so good. I thought it was a real model. But I mean, that does look amazing. And with the 37, I know I've often described the Acura scale models as being very much the Rolls Royce of models. And there's certain aspects with the Class 37, certainly the 37.4, that you've looked to other models on the market and thought, we've got to do X, Y, and Z on that hasn't been done. Is there's certain areas of this model that, in your opinion, really takes this class of locomotive to a new level in model form?
Yeah, I mean, the way we approached the Class 37 was it's been such a long-lived prototype, and there's been so many different rebuilds and variations of them that we approached to do a number of ones that have not been done ready to run before. So that's why we started with Class 37.6. This is, obviously the original, EPS and then DRS machines with their different light packages and all those variations and filled inside windows that we decided, well, these have never been done for before. They're almost like a class of their own. And it was the same down for the car headlights. Scottish Class 37s, the original 5 builds have different differences that are not consistent across the rest of the original Class 37s. And these modern incarnations of the Class 37.4 are also different. With again filled in by-side windows and other LED lights and stuff like that as well that have not been done in model form before. So we were able to create a range of Class 37s that can appeal to people who are looking for those variations, and they actually are different to anything else that's out there. And obviously we want to bring our own trademark goal of trying to push for as high quality and high detail as possible, and obviously just give it a fresh approach, which is obviously what we've trying to do with stuff like Class 37, the Class 92 and the Delta and stuff like that as well.
Brilliant. And certainly, I mean, I'm looking at the Intercity of the Regional Railways. You've picked two of my favourite liveries there, so I'm really looking forward to these. We've had a few questions come in through the chat room on the stream. And we've got SLD51 asks, any news on the Acura scale Class 55? We're just wondering whereabouts are you up to with that?
Yeah, the Deltic is... I suppose with the Deltic, it's been we've decided to make a number of changes on it, which delayed it. So we will see now on decorated samples due in May, I believe, that we've totally redone stuff like the grills, and we've made a few other tooling changes as well. We weren't happy with some of the handrail placement, which delayed it. So we're still on course for delivery in November, all going well, and that's where we're at the moment on that. I've had a preview listen to the sound project, and it does sound really good. It still needs some tweaks before we put it live, but we hope to show that off very soon as well. And from a feedback point of view, the Deltic has been really well received by experts and modelers alike, who really like the shape and the differences to detail. And again, with the Deltic, we were able to offer stuff that was never done before. They've been in preservation even longer than we were in BR service on the main line. And we can do stuff like the high intensity headlight, so it gives currency and modelers an opportunity to run the Deltic on rail tours. And obviously the Purple Monster portable one has been very popular, and that has white back headlights, and we decided to do that as well. Right. So that's where we are with the Deltic at the moment.
And I guess that really does show the attention to detail that you guys go to, that you're not afraid to push back a model to get things absolutely right, and the end product, when it does come, I've described it as being the definitive model, because you do go through this attention to detail to get everything absolutely perfect first time.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we try to do. I mean, the way we look at it is that we're going to be selling these for a number of years. We want it right from the outset. And I think if you bring a model to market and it has a disappointing flaw, whatever that might be, I think that's the biggest difficult point of it all. I can understand delays are very disappointing, and they disappoint us as well, because we're really eager to get them there. And these are models that we want to run on our own layouts ourselves.
Yeah.
But we feel if there's a few months delay, it's worth it to make sure it's the absolutely best model it can be. Rather than release something that's flawed, and I just don't think that's very fair on the modeler then, who has to pay a lot of money for a model. So we want to make sure it's right, so they are getting the absolute best locomotive or wagon or coach that they can get.
Brilliant. Also got a question from oorail.com, just asking any ETA on the Mark V coaches.
Yeah, Mark V's have entered tooling. It was a little bit delayed because of the corona pandemic in China. But the factory tooling shop is back up and running as of this week just gone, and tooling has begun. We hope to have samples, I think, around May time, late May, early June. And if they're all okay, then we should have production before the end of, delivered to us before the end of this year. So we're looking at around Q4, and it's just one of the unfortunate side effects of the coronavirus. But again, it's not a huge delay. We expected late summer, so it's going to be a couple of months late, but it should not be too bad.
And also, just looking down the comments as well, again asked by oorail.com, any news on Accurascale's sister company, IRM's A-Class?
Yeah, the A-Class is our first Irish model locomotive, the Metrovic. It's currently, again, it's pretty much at the same level as Deltic. We are probably due decoration samples a little bit before the Deltic, so I think we're due them in early May. And the sound project as well, we've recorded with GM Sound, and we'll have videos on that soon, and we're working on getting sound from the original Crossy loco. Right. That is the only one running is in Australia, so that's a bit of a logistics headache that we have at the moment. But we are looking at delivery at September for them.
Is that the same engine as the Class 28 Metrovic had, or at least a similar one?
Correct, yeah. It's the exact same engine, yes.
Yeah, it's a shame they haven't got the one that's at Bury in the UK running. That would have been a little bit easier to record, I guess.
It would have been a lot easier. I got to know a guy who's involved in the preservation of Kobo, and I've been hassling to hurry up and get it finished, but unfortunately I don't think they're going to get it done in time. But we'll get there, but that's a fantastic project. And I think British Rail had 10 or 20 of the Cobos, I can't remember offhand. Irish Rail,
like that, yeah.
Yeah, Irish Rail bought 60 of the A-Class and 33, I think, of the C-Class, which was a smaller logo, all across the engines, and they were all re-engined with GM power units in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. So I know British Rail had no end of trouble with the original engines in the Class 28s, which was really the reason why they got the chop when they did.
Yeah.
We also got a question from SLD51 asking, how's the Class 92 project?
The 92 is currently in tooling, and we've come up with a solution for the pantographs finally, which we able to raise and lower with DCC. it will use cordless motors, so it'll be a fairly silent operation. And we are looking for a sample with that in May, and then delivery around November time.
Excellent. I also got a question from Natalie Porter asking, will a Curascale ever do a steam locomotive? Is that something that might be on your radar for the future?
It is. We are working on a steam locomotive in the background at the moment, and we have identified a second prototype that we're researching at the moment.
Oh, right. Brilliant. So
and we should have news on the first one later this year, all going well.
Excellent. Well, I really do look forward to that, because given the standard which we've seen the wagons come out thus far, and looking at the CADs for the Class 37, they look superb. I'm really looking forward, actually, to anything else that you're going to be bringing out, because it is going to be the definitive model, I have to say. I mean, I've got in front of me some of the Chemflow tankers that I did a review on, and it amazes me that the more I look at these wagons, the actual depth of detail that's on them. I mean, I guess when you set out to do a particular model, your aim is to make a model that will last and last for the 40, 50, 60 years, that nobody will feel a need to retool it because there's nothing to improve on. And I found with these, if you looked at them under a magnifying glass, it's like the detail, it just gets further and further in. There's more to see the closer you get to these wagons. It's just, I know I sound like I'm gushing like a fangirl, but they really are incredible works of art. And I described them as the Rolls-Royce of wagons, and I stand by that comment. I really do.
Well, you're very kind for saying that, and we really do appreciate that feedback. And I mean, we've released a number of wagon models at the moment, and we try and improve with each one. And our latest wagon, which is the PFA 2-axle container flat, has gone down very well and has done really, really well in magazine reviews and lots of customer feedback. But we do listen to, if someone has some suggestions and critiques as well, and we try and build that into every model we do. And it's about kind of driving standards forward, and that's kind of why one of the principal reasons why we started into the UK market. It was, well, can we, build the very best models we can? Can we challenge ourselves to really put out the very best models we can in all our, research, design, manufacture, and, really appeal to modelers? And the other way we look at it as well is, are we the cheapest on the market? No, but we're not the most expensive either. But what we try to do is build as much detail into it as possible, so you get the very best value for money, in the sense that you get the very best product for the most reasonable price we can do it. And model alloys aren't the cheapest thing anymore, absolutely, but it's about giving modelers value for money, and that's what we try to do in all our models.
Yeah, very much. I mean, certainly when I review things, value for money is one of those areas that I think is very important. And it's like you say, model railways aren't the cheapest of hobbies, but at the same token, you're getting a lot of model for your money. One of the things that I'm quite curious about is what attracts you to the certain prototypes that you've done so far in model form. I mean, things like the HUO hopper wagons. Some might think it's quite an unusual prototype. What was it about a model like that attracted you to, a prototype like that attracted you to making it in model form?
Well, there's a group of us involved. There's I think we're up to 8 members of staff at the moment. But when we first started with the HO, there was 4 of us, and one of us really needed wagons like that for their layout. So it was slightly selfish, but we have to build a business case into it too, in the sense that there were many thousands of these wagons built, I think 5,000 or 7,000 something. And they covered extensive amounts of the country. They were long-lived. They ran with steam and diesel. Air is right up into the mid-80s, and it was just kind of, is there a business case, and will these be viable? Never done ready to run before. So with stuff like that, we built into it with the Semfos. They were kind of like an iconic wagon from the 60s, Queens. So we thought that would be a good one to do, and they've done tremendously well as well. And yeah, I mean, there's a number of different things come into it. Deltic, a very glamorous, big, large, noisy logo that is enthusiast favourite, and was one that we were certainly passionate about. The 92 was a part of doing the Mark V Caledonian sleepers, and we want to kind of start getting into a situation where we build a full train rather than offering bits and pieces. So we can, push full train formation. You have your locomotive, you have your wagons that go with that logo and stuff like that. So it's a variety of different things coming into it, and it's we're all passionate about different areas of BR and stuff like that, but it's also part of what does the market need, what our modeler is really looking for at the moment, as well. So a lot of different considerations come into it.
I mean, it's a very you have to have a lot of confidence to come into a marketplace that's very extensively dominated by a number of very big, long-established companies. But the fact that you've done that and you've brought models to market that have really broken out into the limelight, that have shown that you can get the standard that really gives all the other manufacturers more than a run for their money. Hats off to you. You've taken on the big boys and you've done extremely well. And I'm just really looking forward to what else you bring forward. But when you started, that must have been quite scary, I guess, to be breaking into that kind of market.
Yeah, I mean, we had some experience through our Irish models, and we originally started with 2 Irish wagons, and we were doing it in our spare time. And when we finally landed the products and the models, and we saw it packaged in its box and people buying them and really loving them, because there'd never been a ready-to-run Irish wagon before, which is why we essentially started. We really got a great buzz off that, and we all had interest in British railways because that's what we grew up with, around Army train sets, Lena and stuff. The 80s was very big here. There was no Irish outline models, and obviously we read all the magazines are British outline magazines. So, and some fantastic prototypes that we love, like 37s, like Deltics, and I see them in A4 running around there, the favourite of mine, and stuff like that as well. So I suppose with the UK market we had really good knowledge of it, but we decided to do a wagon first, to dip a toe in the market, see how it would be received, and see what the feedback would be from that. And it was just so tremendously positive. We decided, well, this is where we need to go, and we really have decided just to do our own thing, put our own stamp on it. We were modelers ourselves, and we've decided to take on feedback, and we've read extensively in forums and customer surveys and all that kind of stuff, what people are looking for, and it matches a lot what we want to do. So we decided, obviously, to kind of keep pushing with that as well.
Great. One final question before I let you get on, but it's I'm really sorry to the person who asked this question. I've lost their comment, but just asking whether there's any more O-gauge in the pipeline.
Yeah, as you know, we've done one O-gauge model, which was the HO hopper in O-gauge, and it's done quite well. It is definitely something we're looking at, and we're identifying prototypes at the moment. This is between wagons, coaches, and locomotives, so we haven't fully decided what we're going to do next. We are looking to do more O-gauge. So if anyone has any suggestions, go on our website and email us and say, look, I think this will be a really good logo to do, this will be a good wagon to do, this will be a good coach to do, and yeah, we will definitely look to do more O-gauge, but we just haven't fully decided what to go with yet. And just to keep in mind that new models is a year to 18-month process, so it's going to be a few months away yet, but it's definitely something that we're going to look at to do more of.
No worries. Well, look, thank you very much for taking some time out to join us here, and it's been great to have a look through the Class 37-4 announcements, and I'm really looking forward to not only them coming through, but some of the other models too, and looking forward to seeing what else Akira Scale's been cooking up. I'm intrigued by the talk of a steam outline locomotive. But look, you take care of yourself, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much as always, Jenny. Really appreciate you inviting us on, and you and your viewers, I hope you all stay safe and look after yourselves.
Okay, look, thanks very much. You take care. Bye
Yes,
for now.
bye.
So that was Fran Burke from Accurascale, and it was really great to get a little insight there into some of the projects that they've got going on, and it's really nice to be able to talk with the manufacturers and get a kind of inside track on things. I know that I've been a really keen supporter of the Accurascale models, and that's simply because everything that I've seen has been to such a high quality, and I think it's testament to how much effort, how much passion the guys over at Accurascale put into actually researching these projects and making sure that they come out as being the best they can possibly be. But I'm going to try and read through some of your comments now. It's a little bit difficult to interview somebody and keep an eye on the comments. So we've got the trains running around. We're still to come. We have Rails of Sheffield coming on in a bit, and also hoping to get Richard Brighton from DCC Concepts. In fact, what I'm going to do is, once the Cupboard Monkey has finished on there, one of the things actually, we've got some links for where people can go to pre-order the Accurascale models. So if we put them into the that came through via email. So we're going to put, it'll go up into the chat, so you'll see Gamehammer Classic Gaming will be the account that's posting them, and hopefully, no?
It'll be your account, because you're going to be reading the comments off my phone.
Apparently, it's going to be my account that's going to do them, and we're going to put up a link where you can go and get your pre-orders in for the Class 37 4s from Accurascale. But let's have a look through some of your comments. I'm sorry I couldn't ask Fran all of the comments. Martin1107 says, "G'day to all from sunny Queensland and the land down under." Gary Lewis says, "Just posted a pink on the Accurascale on tour page on our a link." I think that's a link.
A pink link. There's nothing wrong with a pink link.
Ron Stanbridge, "We are looking to do a live stream tomorrow from the Garden Railway, Spensley Junction, Stanbridge Ford. Look out for this. Be sometime tomorrow afternoon." Oh, great stuff. And this is one of the things that actually, it's really struck me, that the community has really come together in this kind of lockdown, and it's a global lockdown. It's unprecedented times. I've never known anything like this. So just having a look through. Yeah, people. I couldn't really probe too deeply about the steam outline locomotive. When they're ready to make an announcement, they will. But yeah, they obviously don't drop any hints.
Is this the link?
Yes.
Yep.
I think. Yeah, and there's also a link as well to the Rails of Sheffield site.
I will get that as well.
If it sounds really like we're on a wing and a prayer here, it's probably
because we are. This is something we have never attempted to live stream an entire convention before.
Yeah, effectively, this is something that I've never seen anybody do this before. So what I want to do, once we got that link posted up, I'm going to see if I can get Richard Brighton from DCC Concepts on the line. And we're going to be talking about DCC Concepts. It's more than just DCC. As they said in one of their adverts, which silly fool called the company DCC Concepts? Because there's so much more than just DCC. And actually, some of the products you'll have seen starting to appear up here on Weir Yard. There's in the Friday update video. What's wrong?
Two links.
Two links, right? So there should be two links for you. There's the Accurascale's own website link has gone up into the comments, and also there's some links for pre-ordering as well onto the Rails of Sheffield.
Yeah, there's two Rails of Sheffield links and one directly to Accurascale for like the lot.
Right, which Rails? Two.
The Class 37s and the thing. Yeah.
And the what thing?
The 3D van.
No.
You asked for that.
No, I didn't. I said the 37s.
Okay, there isn't a van.
Right. Naughty.
No one. Hey, this is wing and a prayer thing here. I'm trying my best, and you're trying your best.
Okay.
So mistakes will happen.
Yeah.
No one saw that link.
Yeah, stop drawing attention to it. Right. Let's see if we can get Richard Brighton up on the line. We're coming up on 1:30. So,
what do you need from me for this? Do I need to contact him on?
Yeah, we're going through the same video setup. I think. Let me just make sure. I can't remember whether he was happy to. Let's just see. Bish bash bosh.
While Jen's doing that, are there any trains that you'd like to see running in the background? Let us know in the comments.
So yeah, we're going to try and go to Richard Brighton a little bit earlier because we've got a big announcement coming up, and this is an exclusive announcement from Rails of Sheffield. That'll be coming around 2:00. We'll be getting Oliver Davies from Rails of Sheffield on the line, and also one of the people who's been heavily involved in the research work behind this exclusive model that they're doing, and to talk a little bit about it. So that's coming up at 2:00. Don't forget to like this stream, share it too, let other people know that we're doing this virtual expo. So get the more the merrier. We've got a lot of great stuff coming up, getting a lot of interesting people from throughout the industry on the line, and it's your chance to put a few questions to them. It is quite tricky to read comments and interview somebody at the same time, so I'm not ignoring comments. Obviously there's certain things, if you ask about what's this super secret thing, I can't ask that because they can't tell me, so there's no point in asking.
Also, don't ask about where babies come from, because we'll tell you when you're older.
Something just went ding.
Lots of things go ding. Do you want to put that onto mute?
Yeah, I should do.
Otherwise we're going to get bling 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 whenever anyone sends you messages.
Right, no worries. But that'll still let the phone calls come through.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Right, no worries. Richard Brighton is online. That was a message from him. So shall we try and go to Richard Brighton of DCC Concepts?
Is it a video or an audio?
This will be video. So if you want to... is that actually going to appear on screen now?
It will in a moment.
Right, so...
Through the power of the internet.
Through the power of...
Hardware access it. Oh no, no.
What's happened now?
Here's our first problem.
We've got an issue coming through. So
the microphone is gone. It's restricted access to the microphone.
How do we unrestrict?
I don't know. I'm going to switch to a different microphone and try that.
So, really sorry, Richard, if you're watching. We're just trying to put in a call.
This is ridiculous. It's just not let. We're trying our best, guys. Apologies for this, Jen. Just keep.
Shall I answer the call? It's coming through.
No.
So it'll come through the desk differently.
It'll have to be audio then. That's the only way.
Right, so
sorry, guys.
Hello, Richard. Can you hear me? Oh, hold on. Oh, ow. Hello, Richard. Can you hear me?
Try now.
It's the call's dropped out. I didn't answer it in time, so do bear with us. We've got a few technical issues here. Have you got any idea why it's denied access to the?
I don't.
Is there a way of bringing that back up?
I am trying my best. I really am trying my best.
It's ringing.
Okay, we're trying. Let's see if
I don't need this microphone.
No, you don't. Turn off. Is anything coming through?
Hello.
Hi, Richard. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. We're having a few technical issues with the camera. For some reason, I don't know whether is it letting you view a video stream from our end.
I can see your YouTube stream, but that's all I can see at the moment.
I think we're going to have to stick with just audio. For some reason, the software we're using has decided to stop us from using the videos, which is unfortunate because we managed to get Framberg from Acura Scale on, but it's one of those things. When you do anything live, anybody who's a veteran of watching Saturday morning kids TV will know that live TV never goes according to plan. But how are you doing in this strange times that we find ourselves living through at the moment?
Very strange at the moment. I'm currently at home. I'll be working at home this week. We're single manning in the office, so we have 3 isolated zones. We have 3 members of staff in the office. one in sales, one in customer service, one in logistics. And then if those phone lines are busy, we redirect into mobiles to people who are home working as well. So we're trying to keep everything moving as best we can.
I mean, is that working okay for you, or is it? It must be quite a challenge, because I'm guessing you've never really had to do anything like this before.
No, we're very much as you know, because you've been up to years. We're quite a close knit, small team. So to split up and work remotely has its own challenges. But we're confident we can make it work. I've had a few phone calls come through today because Andy's in the office doing sales at the moment. And if he's busy, then obviously the calls are then coming through to me here. So I've managed to process a few sales sitting on my sofa as well. So it's all very interesting. The post is still going out. Royal Mail are still working, so we can still process orders and get them out. We can still take payments. Obviously, the website is fully up and running, and we have full customer service support as well. So if anyone's got any questions or they have any problems, they can still contact us.
That's brilliant. And one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of companies are kind of adapting to the circumstances, and I guess mail order is a good way of still being able to access your products, even if people can't necessarily go and visit the shop anymore.
That's right. I mean, pretty much the full range of products is available online on the website. There are some holes in the range caused by lack of supply because of the situation we've got. But that's primarily the things that are made in China. And they're obviously having problems getting them into the UK. But everything else is available online. And we tend to find with our dealer sales, the dealers of ours that have got active and highly visited websites are doing very, very well at the moment. So we're getting quite a lot of trade orders from the dealers with active websites as well.
Because an awful lot of other model railway outlets do carry stocks of DCC Concepts products.
Oh yeah, it's quite widely stocked across the industry, with the smaller stores getting their stocks from GaugeMaster as our distributor, and then the more specialist stores can get them from us direct. So yeah, it's definitely still busy, and the orders are still coming in, which is great. And the people who are ringing us, in theory, should see no difference in the service that they receive.
Yeah, and one of the things actually you did jokingly say when we did that interview that even though the company's called DCC Concepts, you do an awful lot more than just DCC related equipment. And I've got a few of the things here actually. So I'm going to show them up to the camera. All three of these products are products that are equally at home on DC, on DCC. And in fact, actually, the tool I've got here as well is great for DIY jobs around the house that aren't even necessarily anything to do with model railways. But just to show how extensive the DCC Concepts range is, we've got one of the back-to-back gauges here. And it's something that I see a lot on Model Rail Forum. People say, I've got an item of rolling stock, it keeps derailing, I don't know why it's derailing. And back-to-back gauges are the perfect thing to see what is probably the cause for that. And for anybody who's got an item of rolling stock or a locomotive that just doesn't want to play ball. And it's... I guess it shows just the kind of really handy tools that DCC Concepts do that aid the modeler in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, the back-to-back gauge that you've got there, I believe you've got the 00 BB145. I think, Jennifer, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty essential tool in anybody's arsenal because it lets you just check the back-to-back gauges, even of brand new locomotives that come out of the box. And I'm sure you'll be aware that they're not always 100% accurate, and you get weird things like things derailing over points that you don't expect at all. And just, you think it's a faulty product, and actually it's just the back-to-back that needs checking. So that's a really key product, and it's not expensive either. Yeah,
and I'm looking on the box actually. You do them for pretty much every gauge and scale you can imagine. It's not just the usual suspects of N gauge and 00, but you've got EM gauge, P4, 14mm, 12mm. There's such a wide range. It doesn't really matter what you model. I guess one of these is an essential for the modeller's toolbox.
It is. I mean, we supply the EM Gauge Society with their back-to-back gauges and their track gauges as well, because they've said that they're the most accurate that they can get. So we actually supply the Society with their reference gauges. They are very, very high quality. They're very accurate. And as you say, in a number of different gauges, not just the usual suspects. But it's interesting, we also do the 0075 and 0085, which are for hand-built track, where you need that extra level of accuracy.
Right.
So it's not just 14.5. We do a 14.75 and a 14.85 for those who are really wanting to get very, very accurate.
Right, I'm with you. And then the other products as well. I mean, this really intrigued me when you showed me this in action in the shop. And I'm just going to hold it up to the camera. The power base. And I've got a project that I've actually got the piece of wood down here. I'm going to be building a kind of demonstration piece. But it's one of the things that, and I don't know how well it shows up on the video. There's a train going round and it's going up and down some really steep grades. And one of the things that people tend to notice with that is, the locomotive will start skidding and skidding. Doesn't necessarily get traction. The power base product is actually quite an amazing concept for getting your locomotives to go up and down grades much more sure-footedly. But also, you also said in the shop, even on level grade, it's really good for improving electrical continuity as well.
Yeah, what you're doing there is you're increasing the adhesion the locomotive has on the track by putting a magnetic field between the locomotive and the track bed. So there's no electricity involved in that. All you're doing is increasing the downforce of the locomotive onto the track. That has several benefits. Number one is getting up gradients, as you've said. But number two is that it helps you with electrical pickup from the track, because you're creating a stable connection between the wheels and the track. And that has several other benefits, including not having to clean the track as often. So there's loads of benefits as well as just getting up gradients.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, unfortunately on my layout, everything's already ballasted, but certainly when you come to build a layout from scratch, it's a product that I wish I'd known about, because people are probably seeing on the screen this this locomotive really struggling up what is actually a 4% grade. And it's like you say, it starts to cause like a black deposit on the track because it's not getting the adhesion that it needs. But the beauty of using this power base system is because it's done through magnets, you're not adding dead weight to the locomotive, so it's not dragging extra ballast weight around all the time. It's only getting that extra adhesion where it actually needs it, which, is such a simple idea and yet so effective.
Yeah, absolutely right, Jennifer. It does make a massive difference. In fact, I think if we were at the Alexander Palace show and people were standing in front of us, I would now have a steep gradient, which I believe you've seen in the showroom.
Yes,
with a little a tank engine on there and a very heavy truck full of weight going up and down it. So yeah, it's difficult not being able to show you actually, but it really does make a massive difference.
I know the video that we put out, not the Friday just gone, but the Friday before, where we put out the tour of the DCC Concepts showroom in Settle. We actually do show that demonstration track, and I found it quite amazing, to the point where, the project that I want to do is I actually want to see whether it's possible to run a locomotive upside down, because it's very difficult to describe it without people actually being there and feeling the extra pull that this gives. But it was just incredible to feel. It was almost like the locomotive was sucked onto the track. The different level of adhesion was just amazing, and it means, I guess, that people can, with this system, they can have steeper grades on their layout. Say if you want to have a descending gradient into hidden storage sidings. A lot of people might think, I've not got the space to be able to get a track to a lower level, but the power-based system kind of allows you to go beyond the what would be considered a maximum gradient to be able to do things like that.
Indeed, I mean, it allows you to do that. It also allows you to pull prototype length trains, so you can have 11 or 12 coach trains running on your layout, which you wouldn't have done before. It also, because we do it in N gauge as well, it allows you to increase the running quality of N gauge locomotives, which is sometimes problematic, as N gauge modelers will all too well know. And even if you're doing a narrow gauge double O layout that uses N gauge track, if you put the power base on that, again, you increase stability of those trains. So it has lots of other applications. One interesting one was on a slope going down. If you put the magnets on the bottom of a brake van, then the brake van will actually operate as a brake van.
Right. So it'll hold
magnet in it.
Yeah, so it holds back the end of the train to stop them, because I know if you try and run a really long train, and if you're using something like tension locks or even 3-link couplings, you get that problem where there's a tipping point and the back of the train will suddenly accelerate into the locomotive. Yes, so
there's lots and lots of little benefits. Of course, there's the fun ones that you can play around with as well, with magnetism. But generally speaking, the increase in adhesion going up the slopes is the major use of it, followed by the increase in electrical pickup on the flat as well.
Well, we've got big thanks to Combat Bunny has put a link into the chat. So if anybody's looking for...
So you can pick it up, it's all right.
All right, sorry. There's a link in the chat now as well if people want to go and have a look for that product. But the third product that I've got here as well, and this was kind of like the, if there's one tool in your toolbox, then this is it. And the thing that really has sold me on this product, I need to film a full review on this, is the fact that it is so useful for far more than even just model railways. I found myself using it when I'm rewiring a plug, doing things like that. It is a great tool, and this is the wire clipper, the wire stripper, multi-tool. It really is a great tool, and
the mental image of you rewiring a plug wearing your little cat ears, I think that's made my day now.
Well, yes, I do. If anybody's wondering why I'm wearing silly cat ears, it's Zoe insisted on buying me a set of headphones that happen to be very cutesy. So I know it's probably not the most professional of looks that people are expecting. But
look, I think we all need a smile at the moment.
You saw them and fell in love.
That's it. I must admit that one of my thoughts are that, in such serious times with what's going on in the world, it's sometimes a little bit of light relief and not taking ourselves too seriously is great kind of comic relief for that. But this tool, I think we've got some. There was some video footage.
There is a demonstration of how it works in the video when you went to DCC Concepts. It's near the end.
Yeah, near the end of the video that we filmed on our visit to the DCC Concept showroom, we show you this tool and show it in work, and it's just so versatile for being able to cut wires, strip wires. And the thing that actually really impressed me was, say you want to add a dropper to your layout bus. For whatever reason, you didn't plan it from the outset. You find actually that piece of track could work better with an extra dropper. Rather than having to cut the wire and mess about with chop blocks, which in turn add in their own reliability issues, this tool will actually... I was quite amazed when you showed me this. It kind of pulls apart the insulation without cutting the metal core, such that you can then solder to that, get a really good connection without ever having cut the original wire. It's such a versatile tool.
This is it. I mean, this is the tool, Jennifer, that if we take to an open day or we take to a show, if you put it into a customer's hand to actually use it for the first time, 95% of the people like yourself who use it instantly want it. It just saves hours and hours on your back underneath the layout. Trying to gouge out bits of insulation is not fun. So this, you just put it onto the wire, pull the handles, and it's done. It's so easy.
Yeah. And that's it. It's about ease of use, and the fact as well that it kind of incorporates multiple tools in one. So rather than scrabbling around trying to find a tool for cutting the insulation, then a different tool for cutting the wire, another tool for stripping back bits and pieces, it's a one-stop tool that you can do everything. So like you say, when you're lying on your back in the dark under a layout trying to do stuff, it makes that job so much easier. And I know a lot of people don't like doing wiring. It's probably short of ballasting, it's one of the things that people always say as being their least favorite activity. And with this tool, it's making that least favorite activity a lot more bearable, a lot easier, to the point where people don't mind doing, which is what I love about it.
That's right. It does an awful lot of the hard work for you. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jennifer, these aren't cheap, as you know.
Yeah.
But the difference is you could go down to Aldi and get one from the centre road in Aldi for £8 or £9, granted, but it won't have the build quality, it won't have the materials. We've spent an awful lot of time and effort in getting the materials to the point where this will last you the rest of your life. So yes, okay, it's a little bit more expensive than some of the tools that look the same, but as you've experienced because you've used it, it is definitely not the same as the cheaper products.
And that's the thing, it's like the old adage, only the wealthy can afford to save money, and if you buy this tool, you never need to buy it again, whereas if you get the cheap ones, you end up having to replace them very quickly down the line, again and again and again. So, you know, it's far better to buy the quality in the first place. And it is a very well-made tool. When you have it in your hand, it feels snug, it feels slick. You know, the mechanism works first time every time, and it does feel like the kind of tool that will just keep on doing what it's supposed to do forever and a day.
I think this speaks an awful lot about what we do as well, Jennifer, as you found out. That yes, okay, we make a pair of wire strippers, but if people go to the website and look at the wire strippers, just click back one level and look at the rest of the tools that are there, because there's quite a lot of purpose-made model railway tools that are on there, which are all of the same very, very high quality. And they're all available, manufactured by us specifically for modelers to use.
Excellent. Right, well, look, it's been great chatting to you, and what I'd like to urge our viewers to do is to go and check out the DCC Concepts website, because there's so much more than just DCC. And I'm just thinking back, some of the other products, you've got scenery products, you've got detailing products. I'm particularly impressed with your range of working lamps, including things like brake lamp tail lights for guards vans. You do a full range on those, don't you, for representing everything from oil lamps from the steam era right through to the flashing LED lights for modern image?
Yeah, that's right. If you want an LMS tail lamp, we've got that. LNER tail lamp, modern image tail lamp that's a white lamp with a flashing red light. We've even got the guard fan lights, which go on the side irons, which have white facing forward and red facing back. We've got those as well. So there's quite a lot there.
That's brilliant, and certainly, I mean, I would have at this point recommended people to pay a visit to the Settle showroom, but of course, at the moment, that's not really a possibility. But the other thing as well to mention is that your products are also stocked by a huge number of other model railway shops as well. So it's really easy to find a lot of these products, and it's really great stuff there. And what I found when I was going around the showroom was you'd find things where it would kind of inspire you to new projects. I mean, one of the things as well I really liked the look of was the point rodding as well that you do, which is a really great way of adding to the realism. If you've got a signal box, if you've got point work signals, being able to add in the mechanism that would make all that work on the real railway.
That's right. That's all to scale as well. All the rodding is to scale. All the chairs are to scale. The cranks have to be slightly larger because they have to throw pico points, which have got quite a lot of travel. But it will actually operate. It's the only scale point rodding that will actually work on the railway. You can retrofit it as well as fitting it when you build the railway as well, because you can attach it to an already motorised point and have that point feed the rodding back to the signal box, which is in some ways a little bit easier.
Right. Oh, so you could basically, it would move as a scenic feature driven by the point motor that's already underneath the point, rather than the point being switched through the actual point rodding.
That's right, and of course an observer to the railway looking at it wouldn't know whether the point is driving the rodding or the rodding is driving the point. The whole thing will move together.
Oh, right. That is actually a really great idea. But look, it's been great having you on, Richard. Great to talk to you, and I'm going to let you get on. And it's just been really good to just get an insight into the product range of DCC Concepts. And thank you.
Can I drop a quick plug as well, Jennifer?
Yeah, no worries.
So I think some of your users might also be on the Facebook Model Railway exhibition that's going on at the moment, the Great Virtual Model Railway Show. I'm on there with a stand, and we have various different show offers available, which include free postage. So there's 5 show offers. One's for an LMS gas lamp, which you saw in the showroom. One is for the booster system that you bought from us, the Alpha Power and Alpha Box, which you're now running your layout on, which has increased your running capacity quite dramatically.
Oh, very much so.
There's another one for the AEU, which allows you to create a digital switch panel, and for the Pullman lights that you saw when you were there with the tables on. So there's a few special offers on there, which has got price reduction and it's got free shipping on there, just to help people out because they might have wanted to come to the show and buy a few things off us without paying the shipping. So we're just doing that as a little a nod to help those people if they wanted to come and have a look at the offers.
That's brilliant. So if people want to go and check that out, that's over on Facebook. And I know because I've got, there's actually some photographs and video footage of Weir Yard on there as well. So it's a great idea, really. And you know, obviously we've seen Ali Pali get cancelled and a number of other shows get cancelled. So it's really great that the community is pulling together to you know, help people through this difficult time.
That's right, and I'm online there all day today and all day tomorrow, so if anyone's got any questions they want to ask, I am on stand in a virtual sense, so people can just ask any questions they have about any of our products.
No worries, that's brilliant. We've just put a link to that up into the chat room so people are able to find that. But look, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great to chat with you. You take care, and hopefully I'll speak to you later.
Thank you, Jennifer. Have a good day. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was Richard Brighton of DCC Concepts there on the channel. It's great to be able to have a chat with him and just go through some of the products that are in the DCC Concepts range. We've got a load of things.
I'm going to try and disconnect that camera and put it back in. I think that's why we couldn't get a video call.
Oh, right. Do you think it may have locked it to the last person who was on?
Yes.
Right, so whilst the cupboard monkey does a little bit of technical gung fu over there, we're going to see if we can get one of the cameras working, and this hopefully is going to let us get the next person on. But we need to actually move fairly quickly. I'm just looking, we need to get Oliver from Rails up. So this is Rails of Sheffield. We've got an exclusive announcement of an exclusive product. So I'm just mindful.
That camera is still not working. There it is.
There
it's
we
back.
Are. Right, in that
might
case,
have been the reason.
This is not a video call.
I know, but I wanted to make sure that we've got it back.
Right.
You know.
So if you could bring Oliver up on the line, and we have a really interesting announcement. And this is a new exclusive model that Rails of Sheffield were planning announcing at Alexandra Palace. Obviously, that's now not gone ahead. So, exclusively here, we're going to be announcing their new... let's have a look. You're going to have to go further down.
Okay, I'm just going to complete...
You're going to have to scroll down.
It's okay, you keep talking, I'll find him.
So, somewhere in there. Sometimes it's easy to overlook. No, not that one.
So, you know what? I'll find him. You keep talking.
Did I not let you search?
You keep talking. I will find.
We're just trying to find Oliver from.
It's so good when this happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm sure I had his details on here. I am almost certain.
Oh, you know, guys, we do this with a wing and a prayer. That's how this works. Is it Davies?
Yeah.
Any of these?
Oh. No.
No. Right. Have you got his number?
We've run into a little bit of an issue here. I don't appear to have Oliver Davies' contact details loaded into the thing. Huh. I was sure that I was chatting to him on here. What have we done here?
It's all right. We'll keep going. I will figure this out. You keep talking.
Intriguing.
Oliver, if you're in the channel at the moment watching the stream, can you give Jen a call?
For some reason it's not coming up.
It's okay. You just keep talking to the people. Go through the comments, Jen.
Right.
It's all right. I'll find him.
Okay, no worries. So, looking in the comments, technical kung fu. Richard Brighton says, shall I drive down and knock on his door? I'm only 5 minutes away from the shop. I believe that the shop is still open at the moment. They are taking great precautions at the moment. Yeah, I'm doing okay. There's a lot of people chatting away in the comments, which is great. Norbert Rössler, hallo Jennifer, Gruß aus Deutschland. Hallo, wie geht's? Wie geht es euch? Uns geht es gut, danke. Und Ihnen? I
am trying my best to find him via other people at the moment. It's not
right.
working.
No. I'll just call him. So
all right, you phone him then.
We're going to have to go through as.
That's my phone.
Oops. Okay.
We're just so on the ball here, aren't we?
Oh, we've missed our own exclusive announcement, which
we have not. We're going to be there. It's all right.
Right. So. My phone is ringing. So, if I accept this.
You need to turn that one on.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. We just suddenly realised we didn't have your contact details plugged into the system. That was. Oh, it's just been such a fraught morning this morning, getting all of the tech sorted out. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, glad we're there.
So we've got this announcement. I fear that we've gone slightly past the time. So I'm guessing people are already finding out.
A couple of people may have seen it because it's scheduled to go live too. So we're only 3 minutes behind. So
yeah, no worries. So do you want to announce to the viewers the new announcement from Rails of Sheffield?
Yes. So basically, as a follow-on from the previous the 3D van that we tested several months ago now. When that model came out, everybody was wanting the earlier version, the actual SECR version, and that's what we can bring today. So it was always in the mind that we would hopefully be able to achieve it. There's various changes as compared to the later version. So various tweaks. There's roof vents and the brake gear is different, but we've managed to do it. Sweat and tears have gone in by various people, but it's all looking good. So yeah, we can announce that today. It has, I've just checked, it has gone on the front page and everything, so people will be able to order that now.
We're just putting the link up now, so we've put a link into the chat where people can order up the exclusive 3D printed Southeastern and Chatham Railway wagon. and this is in its Southeastern and Chatham Railway livery version. So as you've alluded to, there's some detail differences, principally to things like roof vents and brake gear. So this will be authentic to that period. It's not just a re-livery, it's fully authentic to the pre-grouping period. But that in turn does also cover the early Southern Railway period too. So anybody who models the Big Four era, certainly for the earlier period, these wagons are equally applicable to that.
Yeah, that's right. And also another difference from the later version is the type of wheels. So again, they're Alan Gibson wheels, but it's a different style. So there's another differential there. So yeah, it's as I say, the first wagon when we first announced it, there was hurdles that we didn't expect. Not necessarily hurdles, but there was challenges that obviously cropped up throughout the way, because the key part is obviously the finish. Everyone's used to a real good finish, so obviously that was always a high importance. We need smooth finishes where it's supposed to be smooth. And I think the traditional 3D items that have been produced, they all have the little layers lines, so all the way through, the partners we use were all insistent, it'll be fine, you won't see it, it's a different method. But that was always, everyone was biting the lip, waiting to see if it actually happened, and it did. And the initial wagon release was extremely popular. In fact, people are still after it, really.
I know. I mean, it's because you brought out a second batch, and they pretty much sold out almost immediately.
That's right.
It's been incredibly popular. We've got one up on screen at the moment, just so that people watching can actually see the type of wagon that we're talking about. So I've actually got the Southern Railway liveried version is sat looking pretty on one of the cameras. And it really is an exquisite model. I hadn't actually realised when I first saw these that they were 3D printed. The quality that they've come out at is really, really good. And they're finished using tempo printing methods from Daypol, isn't it? They're the partners in
That's
making
right,
these.
Yeah. So the assembly, the paint, and the finishing is all done at Chirk at Dapol. So and again, various challenges they had to face, and it was all a learning curve for everyone involved, and everyone was really accepting that it may not go ahead, the difficulties, but everyone worked really well, and everyone's pleased with the final results. And this hopefully this new wagon will be just as popular for everybody.
Yeah, and one of the other options as well, which I noticed, is there's a metal door variety. I'm guessing this was an experiment from the Southeastern and Chatham Railway. So there's actually going to be quite a different version, as it were, that
That's
people
right.
will be able to get.
Yeah, it was a bit of a wild card that one of the researchers put through in there, and it is that sort of thing where it's a little bit unique, and a lot of people like that. So we thought, we'll give that a go. Again, as per the first one, it is a limited batch of wagons. Again, now we will consider doing reruns, but we have to judge everything right from the how many get printed by the 3D company, how many wheels we order, and we love to just keep the order book open, because a lot of people find that by the time they hear about it, they've sold. But it's just getting the right balance of getting everything lined up. So, if what I would say is, if you're interested in one, get your order straight away for the first batch. There will be plans to do further batches and etc. But they all will have their own delays because we've got to order the wheels and all that stuff again. So we'll see how we go. But But no, we're really pleased with it. I mean, the image I've put online of the that's just a prime sample, and I only got that image first thing this morning because we were sort of trying to get everything assembled. And, I think the paint was drying overnight, the primer. So that is literally hot off the press.
I mean, it is an exciting project, and in many respects, the 3D printing. When I first saw these, it was actually when you did the launch of the D-Class model at the National Railway Museum. It was, to me, it's a game changer in that you're taking a new technology and using that to produce wagons of prototypes that you wouldn't necessarily ever really see mass produced in an injection molded plastic variety. And I just thought that this was just an amazing application of new technology to the model railway world. I mean, what was it originally that made you look into this new process to be able to deliver more unusual prototypes?
Well, I think that was it. I think, the last few years, there's lots of new announcements. A lot of locomotives, and I think the initial thought was, there's going to be a point where people will have all these fantastic locomotives, and they won't have anything for it to pull. And because it is a little bit niche, and as you say, they're not going to necessarily sell in masses, so an injection molded version wouldn't work. It was just a little project we thought of, and thought, is there any way we can bring these to market, smaller runs, still at an affordable, an acceptable price, similar to an injection molded van, and that's how it really started. So, we were always under the thing, we're not out there we're not going to start reprinting 3D printed mass locomotives or anything like that, but things that we feel will go. So one of the key things we always look at is when the new ranges get announced. There's sort of a thought of, this loco's fantastic, look at this, what can go with it, and is there anything that's missing in the market that we can think, actually, that'd be really good, that'd be a really nice piece to go with it. And we just see where it takes us, really. Because
I guess with not having actual injection molded tools to do this, it's actually quite flexible for you to do different prototypes far more readily. Yeah, exactly. So obviously the earlier van, as we say, it was the vents on the roof, and the chassis has been redesigned to house the alternative brake gear, but. It's not a real. Obviously, for the CAD designer, that's where the most challenging part is. It's only small changes after that. So, whereas injection molding, you have to have new slides, various bits and bobs, and it's a real challenge. This does allow us to make changes to have the variants, because, as you said, early on models. Real life locos and wagons, they did have lots of amendments, tweaks added and removed, which is another reason probably why manufacturers choose not to do them, because to get the proper authentic model is very difficult for. And I guess one of the things that the consumer always says is, why didn't you do X? Why didn't you do Y? And this process, you can now do that, and I guess that the fact that you've been asked from when the BR and the Southern Railway versions came out of these about when are we going to see an SECR version, you can deliver that. Whereas if you'd have done it as an injection molded model, then unless you catered for that from the outset, there was just no way you would be able to effectively adapt the model to cater for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So just a little reminder to people in the chat room, we're speaking to Oliver Davies from Rails of Sheffield, and we're talking about the new announcement of the 3D printed van in the SECR liveries and guises, and this is completely authentic to those periods. We have posted a link in the chat room, which people, if they want to get an order in for these wagons, they can do right now. And hopefully these will be as well selling as the first batch, which were kind of, I mean, they just disappeared so quickly.
Yeah.
They were that popular. And
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it must have been right up until the point they go on sale. There's always that element of worry of like, is this going to work? But you must have been very pleased when you saw how well they were selling.
Yeah, we were absolutely over the moon, and it was exactly that. We were sort of, like as you say, right up to the announcement, we were like, who knows? And then, of course, at that stage, we agreed a batch size as the trial. So we were like, we'll make this many, and then we'll see how the process works, etc. So that one sold out really, really quickly, and obviously there was quite a delay before it arrived while we fine-tuned everything. So at the shows we went to, this, that, and the other, we always had the samples, and everyone was like, "Can I order one?" And it's like, unfortunately, you can't. So it's a real strange one.
Yeah.
And it has continued. The second smaller batch we did, that was the same. We had some weathered ones, and they went. So yeah, it's proving good so far.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be chatting in a little while with James Hilsden, who has done a lot of work on the research behind these models. But before we go over to getting James on the line, and just in answer to James has commented in the chat saying, "I hope you've got my number." Yes, we do, because we did do a test with James earlier on today. But there are some questions coming in. So I know we've got some pictures that you sent through of the terriers.
Yes.
So people were asking just where things are up to with the terrier project.
Yeah. So obviously, just before Chinese New Year, we put out an update about the terriers and how they were, the first few were ready to leave. And then obviously with everything that's happened, they're still there. So there's the first 4 versions are all boxed up, ready to leave, and we've kept in direct contact via Dapol with the factory, and things that touch wood, things over there. Workers have gone back and everything's sounding like it's getting back to normal. However, there's just going to be the challenge, I guess, of how to get them over here as fast as we can, because the plan was to get always by air, so to get them here as fast as we can. But obviously with the reduced flights that will be happening now, etc. So there's just a little bit of let's see how it happens. But the plan is that the first one should be as soon as they can leave and get here, they'll be here. And the Bodium that's on the blue, those 2 you can see, they're on the first batch. So there's the Bodium, there's the LBS CR one, and the 2 BR versions, the numbers 32665 and the 32661. So that was the initial first consignment that was leaving, and the others are like super soon behind them. So it is just the current situation that is,
I think it's thrown a spanner in the works for all manufacturers, really, and in fact not just railway modelling. It's something that all across manufacturing, and the products just aren't coming through. I mean, the last fortnight we've continued to have new releases, but I think they were sort of on the sea already before the real issue started. So I think going forward it will start to be less and less new releases for a while. But as I say, I actually spoke to Dapol Friday because I was seeing if I could get any video footage for this of one from China, and he said literally they're all packaged up, ready to go. So it is just a case of they had got another conversation with them on Monday to see they were looking into the fastest way to get them over here. Brilliant. And also one more question from we've got Otis JB in the chat. It says, can you ask what's the difference between the two 812 chassis in preserved Cali livery and as-built Cali livery? Is the as-built variant in light blue? Is what they're asking.
Yes, it is a different blue. Yeah, the preserved one's different. I always, if I say it, I'll probably get it the wrong way around. But it's definitely, there's a difference in the blues. Yeah, and I believe there's a couple of other, minor detailing pieces that differ. But I would say if you, if they want definite clarification, if you drop us an email or give the shop a call, we've got like a chart of differences, so they should quite easily be able to tell him everything that differs.
No worries. And at the moment, the shop's still open, but I'm guessing you're trying to encourage people where they can to go mail order, or how's it working?
Yeah. So we keep having meetings regarding the best course of action. At the moment, with us having, we've got sort of two shops in effect. We've got the Emporium side and the main side. So we sort of try and, it's quite, usually the customers are quite, it's never like a mad rush, people take the time. So, there's things in place. If one was to get a little bit too crowded, we try and, do you want to see this side first kind of thing. And it's just sort of, we're monitoring day by day. A lot of the regular customers, I call them, they're sort of stocking up. They're sort of stockpiling the model railway because they'll say, "This is it. I'm now quarantining." So it's a real difficult one, and obviously we'll go on what the government guidelines are, and we'll also take a judgment on staff and customer safety. And there's various things that the shops regularly clean the handles, counters, the phones even. We encourage contactless payment where possible. The staff have got gloves if they wish to wear them. So we are trying to do everything we feel possible.
And I guess at this time as well, there's a lot of people, if they're going to be facing long lockdown, one of the areas which is good to use the time effectively is to do more on your hobby, to do all those layout building projects. So, we chatted briefly before the stream. You said that sales of track have gone up as people are kind of throwing themselves into these projects.
Yeah, that's right. Lots of track and accessories are going out mail order.
And I take it the supplies of things like track, it's still plentiful. There's no supply issues.
That's right.
Like
yeah,
that.
Every manufacturer's been really good. In fact, I remember a Pico email that came through late last week, Thursday, which was basically saying that no supply issues. We will continue to supply as soon as for as long as we can. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that everyone realises that it is. Being stuck inside is not great, but if there's something that can entertain you, and railways is one of those hobbies that will do that. So, I think whatever we can supply, we will continue to do so.
I know, of course, on your website you've got the full range of products, and one of the things that I do say to people is that the mail order is still there. It's a great way to get hold of all these things. And actually what I've noticed over the past couple of weeks, especially on your website, you've got a lot of great offers in terms of sale items. So there's a lot of great stuff on there for people to throw themselves into their hobbies during this enforced lockdown.
Yeah, and we've even I was going to send you the link, but we've even on the front page you'll see that we've put some exhibition offers. So even though we can't go to the exhibition, we thought the offers will still be good for people. So there's some offers there. It takes you to the main offer pages, but there's some that will be only around for this sort of weekend while the show's going to be on.
Yeah, because I guess a lot of people going to the big shows like Ali Pally, a lot of people, they save up and that's their big spend. So it's nice to see that that people like yourselves are still giving people that means to pick up the bargains that they would have otherwise got at a physical alley pally.
Yeah, and I also think that's it's really good what you're doing, Jenny, because I think people do like to go to shows, pick bargains, but they also do like to they like to inspire what they want to do, see a good layout. So
yeah,
even your image in the background now, it's going to inspire people to think.
And that's it. It's a bit like a virtual model railway exhibition, and I know that there's we've talked a little bit earlier on in the stream. That it's nice to see how the community has pulled together to help out people who might otherwise feel quite lonely, quite out of the loop, who might have really looked to model railway exhibitions to be able to get out there, meet people, to see layouts. And it's one of the things that we're trying to do here is to provide people with an alternative to that, so they don't feel quite so isolated, that they don't feel left out of the community.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we could do is, we can look at doing is, obviously we have quite a large mailing list, so if we can have more events like this planned, and we'll send it out to all the customers, so sort of get their awareness. So there are things going on that will keep people entertained.
Yeah, definitely, and it's nice to see that the YouTube community and the Facebook community are pulling together at a time like this, and it restores your faith in humanity after we've been through this huge social upheaval with all the Brexit stuff. That this is kind of in many ways pulling the community back together, pulling people back together, and getting people to sit down and go, yeah, we're doing all right.
That's it.
Which is great.
Right.
But look, it's been great having a chat with you. Great
You
to
too.
get a bit more detail about the SECR vans. We're going to move on to, we're going to give James a call and have a chat with him. But look, thank you very much for taking the time out.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And, like I say, hopefully we'll do it again soon.
No worries. I think we're in for the long haul with this, so it's something that we're going to be doing. We do a regular Sunday thing now, which we call it the Virtual Model Railway Exhibition, and then of course the Jenny Monday Club, which is the regular Monday live stream that we do, will be going on as normal as well. But look, it's been absolutely brilliant chatting to you. You take care of yourself, and
you too.
We'll speak to you again soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. So that was Oliver Davies from Rails of Sheffield, and
just what you were saying just now about after Brexit, everyone's coming together. It's exactly what the old joke says. Humanity only comes together when it's got an alien to fight.
Yeah, that's it. The only time the whole of planet Earth would come together is like as one would be if aliens invaded the planet.
And that's what we've got. We have an alien enemy. It's not one of us. It's not human. And we're all coming together to stick together because we're all in it for this. We're all in together, and now we're fighting this alien with our community spirit and by sitting on a sofa and watching Jenny.
Yeah, no worries. Anyway, what I want to do now is SLD51 says, can you run an SECRC class? I can't at the moment. We've got to go straight into another interview.
Just get it while I'm setting up the phone call.
One of the things that I will say to people is that we've got our virtual model railway exhibition from 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And this is going to be a repeat of what we had last week on the Sunday. And it's just a kind of a more informal, we're still going to have the chat, as we say, come for the train, stay for the chat. And we're going to have plenty of opportunity to run all sorts of stuff on that stream.
But we also have stuff coming up after this interview, don't we? The one that's coming up now. We're going to be talking about various layouts.
Oh, yes. Remind me what we talked about.
Well, we were asking if people have videos on YouTube of their layouts to send them in. We're going to show them off because this is the alternative to the Model Rail Expo. We're going to show layouts. We're going to talk to people about that.
Definitely,
We've got
definitely.
Photographs and stuff of the various ones that you've done. But right now we're going back to another talk with a model railway guy, aren't we?
Because we're going to get James on the phone in a moment. We've also got Sven from Train-O-Matic still to come. It'd be great to have a chat with him about some of their products too. But yeah, we've got a lot planned. And this is kind of a new area for us doing this kind of thing. As you can imagine, it's quite a lot of work to set something like this up. But I think it's just in this time that we're going through at the moment, this is unprecedented times. And I wanted to bring you guys something that if you'd been looking forward to Alexandra Palace, and now that that's been cancelled, we can at least bring some of those manufacturers to you and provide that element of the exhibition. So right, I'm going to try and get James up on the phone now. So bish bash bosh, I need to let me just.
While Jenny's doing this, we will be having various layouts later on. We've definitely got something about the War of the Worlds and your Christmas diorama. And we're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to ask her various probing questions about why did you decide to do that, you silly person. That kind of thing, just taking us through the layout.
Yeah, we've lost internet connection, I think. It's
No, we haven't.
My phone has.
Your phone sucks.
Yes, it does. Oh, come on, silly phone.
Well, drop it onto 4G instead of Wi-Fi.
Just relax. I'll just reload the.
Hey, Jenny. Pass it here out. Let me fix it.
Right.
That's
Got it. So, I'm going to give James a call. This is James Hillston, who did a lot of the research work on the South Eastern and Chatham Railway vans for Rails of Sheffield. We just had a chat with Oliver Davies first, so hopefully we're going to be see if we can.
Nope.
Oh, what happened there?
Either you hang up or he did.
I didn't touch anything. Oh. Hello?
Hello, I just got a call and it cut off.
Oh yes, I don't know what caused that. We're having I think the internet's getting quite saturated here. But how are you doing, James?
I'm fine. Is that Zoe?
No, this is Jenny. You're live on air. Please don't swear.
Yeah, sorry. There's a time lag because of my terrible internet. So actually, I hadn't realised. I hadn't seen that you'd gone on to me. Hello. Hi to you and Zoe, and thanks for having me.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. We've just had Oliver Davies on from Rails telling us a little bit about the South Eastern and Chatham Railway vans. But obviously this is an area that you know inside and out, being one of the people who've done all the research work on putting this project together.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been a fascinating exercise, both in terms of research and, of course, the process of this new technology. I did catch some of what you and Oliver were chatting about, and one of the points I think you brought out, which was key, is how you can vary this product almost infinitely. I've worked on this in conjunction with Dr. Guy Rickson, who has very much been behind the CAD changes for the early version, and he and I, very early on in the project, drew up a matrix. We looked at the couple of axle boxes, the couple of vents, the couple of wheel options, a couple of brake gear options that we were thinking about, a couple of door options, and we worked out that with physical variants and livery variants together, you could get about 24 entirely different or entirely distinct vans out of this one design. With that, yes, with that sort of. We're used to thinking in terms of tooling suites, but if you like, the CAD suite that we planned would give us actually physical and livery combinations, 24 variants before you even got down to different running numbers. So, this can, if there is demand, there is no reason why this cannot come back refreshed with yet more iterations. The ones we're looking at now on today's announcement, for example, are all from the batch built 1907, 1908, and that determines the vents that they have, and that determines wheels that they have. And they're going to be the solid Monsell wheels, the sort of wooden segment wheels that you get on carriages.
I know the ones.
The sort of 3-foot wagon size rather than coach size. Supplied, as Oliver said, by Alan Gibson. And they've got these rather distinctive sort of Eros vents. I don't know why they're called that, but they are called that. Earlier batches, had spoke wheels and sort of Laycock torpedo vents, which people will be more familiar with. So, if people wanted, it's all a question of economics. If this batch sells well, people might want more of the same. They might want a different variant. But the possibilities, of course, are always there with the CAD. One of the nice things about the early version is the very distinctive brake gear, for example. It's got the 2 brake blocks that everyone's used to, but they're only on one side. But the V-hanger is offset. It's not on the centre axis of the wagon, so it's a rather asymmetrical arrangement. There are no brake blocks at all on the other side, but there is a lever, and we've been able to print the connecting rod between the 2 levers under the frame. And the two levers are different. They're not the same lever either side. The whole brake handle and ratchet arrangement is quite distinctive. It doesn't really resemble at all the sort of RCH freighter brake style that we saw on the later wagons that we're perhaps more used to seeing. So the brake gear is really interesting, and the whole of the soul bars had to be redrawn to accommodate that. All the fixings, the bolts, etc., they're all in different places. There's a nice oval works plate that's gone on there that wasn't on the late version. So you get all of that, and of course, as you drew out with Oliver, these are the sorts of things that, once you've tooled for an injection molded product, that's it. Well, we can go back and we can just redraw selected bits of it to produce a physically distinct vehicle. And that's what you have here.
When I first learnt about the original batches of these, it was just such an exciting new production method to be able to bring to the market vans and wagons that would otherwise be overlooked by the big boys who would be looking to produce thousands in a production run. But I know I spoke to you when we were at the D-Class launch at the National Railway Museum, and you had some of these vans on display. And I remember asking you about the South Eastern and Chatham Railway version. And I'm curious, I take it that this new batch backdating the model, has that come about because so many people have been asking for this particular variant?
It was always something that we wanted to do. We decided to do the late condition version first. We could have done this one first, but I think the feeling is that with the later periods, you're probably on more solid ground in terms of numbers. But we had always contemplated this, and I think that certainly it has helped that from the first, a lot of people have called for the early version, and that's been very much appreciated, because it's not quite as simple as ask for it and we'll print it, but certainly Rails is going to be looking at feedback and comments and requests, and it is undoubtedly going to be fed into the mix. We will see how this batch sells. Personally, I expect it will sell well, but we will see how it goes, because it is probably, I think, first. I think when Oxford Rail announced its Great Eastern van, people were saying, well, that will be the first ready-to-run pre-grouping box van in accurate box van in a pre-grouping livery. Well, we'll beat them to it, as they've got longer lead times as it's an injection molded product. So that does mean it will be a product of a type that is new, and of course, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. How well will it be received? How many numbers will sell? Obviously, if it sells well, that will undoubtedly encourage either a rerun or a variant or similar products in the future, no doubt. So if you want to see more of these things, I guess the thing is, buy them. I mean, Rails will make what people want to buy ultimately. But yes, it's I think it's a niche. It's sort of sort of reaching the parts that injection molding cannot reach in terms of a segment of the market and the number, because people are never going to want these in the tens of thousands, or maybe even in the fives of thousands, sort of thing. But they will need them in the numbers that can realistically be produced. It seems, and happy to buy them, and so it's a great way that they can add considerable variety.
Yes, because they're very distinctive vans.
They are. I mean, it's a 16-foot van. That's not even massive for the time it was introduced in the mid-Edwardian period. It's also not that tall. I mean, I had one. I had the sample sat on the track next to one of the old Slater's little Midland Railway vans, one of the smaller ones, and even that's taller. It's quite a small sort of 8-ton van. Even that is actually higher than this one. It's quite low as well.
When you put it next to
in a rate.
I've put him next to. In fact, I think I've got. I'm just going to change cameras and see. It's not the greatest illustration, but I've just put on screen the BR liveried version that I have next to. It's actually a Bachmann Western Region ventilated van, and it looks tiny by comparison.
I can see. My daughter's finally succeeded in making the picture live. Yes, it does. It does. And of course, the nice thing about the mix of liveries is the idea is that of course they overlap. So if you go for the light grey one, that's the Wainwright era. So that with this particular physical variant, that will get you 1907 onwards. Excuse me. That will then overlap in service with the dark grey version, which is Mansell's version of the goods livery, which I think comes in from circa 1917. And that in turn will as the light grey ones disappear, that in turn will overlap with the 1923 Southern livery with the big SR initials. So it's perfectly possible and proper to run more than one livery together, and they sort of successively overlap.
Yeah, I guess freight stock, whereas locomotives and passenger stock would be very quick to become repainted, the freight stock tended to hang around a lot longer before it went through works.
It did. I mean, certainly in the pre-grouping era, and I don't suppose it changed that much over time. I generally reckon you're good for at least 10 to about 10 years between a repaint.
Yeah.
So, which is obviously, as you say, longer than you would. I mean, in the glory days, you'd expect some locomotive classes would have been repainted every 3 years. Well, if a wagon is sort of 9, 10, 11 years, it makes a big difference. I don't know how much of an effort there was to get stuff into Southern Railway brown after grouping, whether that accelerated the process, but people will recall seeing trains on Pendon, which is set essentially in the grouping period, 20s and 30s. There are plenty of pre-grouping livery wagons scattered about those trains, and indeed, you'll pick that up from the photographic record. Any pictures in the 20s, and there'll be a good mix of grouping and pre-grouping wagon liveries.
I must admit, I've seen photographs after nationalisation of Big Four liveried wagons persisting well into the early 1950s. Obviously because it wasn't a priority to repaint them. So actually, I guess it's more flexible on the eras than people might give it credit for.
I think it is, and the other thing to bear in mind is that whereas wagons tended to stay on their home turfs before the First World War, once you've got to the sort of wartime wagon pooling, even in the pre-grouping, even before 1923, everything is effectively common user.
Yeah.
And although it's nice to have wagons that sort of match your chosen locomotive and your chosen railway company, and that undoubtedly is a reason why presumably people will want these, because there's quite a lot of Southeastern and Chatham locomotive releases out there.
Yeah.
You could once you're post-pooling in the First World War, whether it's the pre-grouping livery or the grouping livery. You can run these anywhere in the country, but behind any colour of locomotive, because they would have just gone everywhere at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I've one of the other photographs I remember seeing in a book was, I think it was a picture of Penzance, and in the sidings was a Highland Railway open wagon. So, some of these wagons did travel quite extensively, depending on what load that they were taking and to where.
They did, and I think that's an important point because even before the wagons were pooled, put in a general pool and used all over the place, specific traffic would have seen foreign wagons. And I think with a covered wagon, the model has almost always got an excuse, because a covered wagon is something that contains that special load that had to come from somewhere on the Southeastern's network rather than somewhere on your home network.
Definitely, you could imagine a
company. You always
company.
think of a reason to have it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying you could imagine a company making something specialist that, say, somebody in the great north of Scotland is like, we need to have a three-toed Woppet from somebody in Kent, so it would get loaded in a van and away it would go. And then, of course, the van would presumably work empty back in the other direction to be returned back to its home ground.
Yes, I mean, in those days that would have been the case. Of course, it could always be full of Huntley and Palmer biscuits from Reading, couldn't it?
Yes, of course, and we've been spoilt rotten by Hornby, actually, in that area. We've got 2 of the locomotives now and a number of wagons.
Yes, I'm afraid I have indulged in both cases.
You and me both.
Yeah. So, and it is also a fascinating process. I mean, perhaps I should just say, people have said, perhaps been thinking, why has there been a long lead time? Well, actually, when this process is up and running, the longest part of the process is the CAD development. But in order to get to the point where we can produce a wagon and then a second type of wagon, there were a number of months of developments, because nobody had used this technology in anything like this sort of application, including the factory that makes them, including the business in the States that manufactures the technology. And in fact, what this is used for, it may interest people, what this process, this combination of material and technology is generally used for, are things like aeronautical components or components in high-end cars. The brands of which I don't think I'm allowed to mention. There is a certain iconic mask worn by a certain iconic villain in a certain iconic sci-fi franchise series, which was, for example, printed by the same factory as with using this same technique.
I must admit, when I was first telling people about these being effectively 3D printed, I think a lot of people, they have misconceptions about 3D printing as being very blocky and having these very clear lines, but you don't get that with this process. It's a much sharper image, and like you say,
no, it's true. Sorry,
I was just going to say, like you say, being used for the aviation industry, they have to be very accurate, because good enough isn't actually good enough when you're fitting this as a critical part on a 747. It has to be perfect. So as a fringe benefit, us railway modelers are getting an incredibly good product through this process.
Yes. I think that we can also claim some share of credit in actually pushing the boundaries of what this technique has been able to do, because nobody had actually attempted anything with anything like this degree of fineness and detail in this new technology before. So it is unique as an application for it in many ways. Going back to the sort of blockiness of 3D printing, the way this overcomes it is quite interesting, because most 3D printing, or traditional 3D printing, as you know, it goes down in layers, sort of like building a wall, and that's what you tend to see in terms of surface texture. It's the fact that it's strata being laid down, and of course that's a inherent weakness in the material, because each layer is effectively a mini fault line, as well as affecting the overall finish. So what this does is it prints by pixels instead of by layers, and that helps with the finish. But it also gives the material the type of mechanical properties that make it suitable for RTR. One of the challenges that we had was not just the quality of the finish, but can you actually 3D print something that is robust enough for ready to run, as opposed to a fairly sort of specialist kit or scratch that modelers would work on themselves. And of course that included the flexibility. You have to be able to things can't just break the moment you touch them. You have to be able to pop the frames apart to drop the wheel sets in them, for example. So we had to have that strength, that flexibility, as well as that finish, and that's really only possible through this particular technique. Having said that, as I said, one of the interesting things for us is that the manufacturer has been taking our little wagons round to trade shows for the automotive industry and things like that, and putting them on a little stand. They've built a little photo plank for it, actually, and everything's quite sweet. Put a couple of these in, and it's been a massive draw for them, because nobody had seen anything printed to this sort of exactitude and detail and fineness in what for them is this tiny scale. And apparently, as I say, the firm in the States who developed this technology have gone kind of, wow, I didn't know you could do this with our technology. So it's kind of fed back into the mainstream development of this technology. So I feel we've sort of done our bit, but it was an innovative approach which hopefully has produced something quite rare and attractive that otherwise wouldn't have been made, and people do seem to be appreciative of that.
And I think it's brought to the market a greater variety of wagons that I don't think we would have seen otherwise. And this the South Eastern and Chatham Railway van is so visually different from anything else that is on the market. I think it's a great first entry point for this technology, because it's so unlike anything else. It really does catch the eye as to what you can do with this technology.
Well, it goes back to your earlier point about how long things, how much of a time lag there was when changes were brought in, and indeed, there were still small, albeit in small numbers, these wagons around in the 1950s under British Rail, and there are plenty of other pre-grouping designs that were still around under British Rail, let alone grouping. And I suspect that the reality, in fact you can check this of course by looking at photographs, the reality is that the variety of any train in terms of different styles and types of vehicle was infinitely greater than most modelers can reproduce, even with currently available kits, let alone ready to run, because there was such a sort of vast pool of different designs built over time that were all still coexisting together on the system. And this is one small step towards introducing perhaps a more prototypical and attractive variety to sort of one's goods rates. But
definitely, and I suppose other things as well is that people easily forget is that some of these pre-grouping wagons even passed into internal user work within large factory complexes. So I know that Royal Ordnance up at near Chorley, they had internal user vans, some of which I'm led to believe included Lancashire and Yorkshire vans, Caledonian Railway vans, and these they were in existence up until at least the 1980s, I believe. So some of these vans had a much longer life than people may have given them credit for.
Yes, indeed, and you could adapt this for just such a freelance scheme, couldn't you? Because it's the sort of wagon that might well have ended up used in that sort of way. I mean, one of the photographs we have available actually is one of these vans in the rather careworn early Southern Railway livery, so like this release with the big S and the big R, but in departmental use.
Right.
Still with its Mansell wheels, and but the date of the photograph is 1949. So that's
Right. So actually, the early, very early British Railways period.
so it's still So it's still in its 1923 Southern Railway livery, albeit rather shabby. In the beginning of BR as a departmental wagon. So there are. There are these survivals, and they make for great variety. I just sort of outstay my welcome, but one of the nice things that we have done, as Oliver mentioned, is we've done this experimental door thing, and that we just thought that was fun. We just thought that was just too good not to do. It was
Oh yes, the metal door.
The metal door,
Yes.
and they're really weird. And it turns out that there's this company called the Leeds Forge Company had made some of these for export. No doubt some sort of railway somewhere in the empire of the day. I don't actually know where, because they are not at all British outline looking. There's these sort of pressed steel doors.
Yeah,
with
they
these
look very almost French.
panels. Yeah, they do, don't they? They don't look Edwardian British, railway design. But their CEO, whatever, Francis Lane, general manager, obviously had an in with Wainwright and talked him into fitting these doors onto a couple of these wagons. Well, obviously, as we know, they clearly didn't become widespread, and we don't know how long these two wagons carried these doors. I suspect probably not that long. So we've only brought them out in the original livery that they were in. But there's a good photograph of the wagon that we produced, 9944, repainted in 1909 upon the fitting of these doors. And we just thought that's okay, it's just the one wagon, but. We just thought that was such an attractive.
And it's something just that little bit different.
We had to do it, and of course that's the beauty of 3D. Is we'll just revise. We'll just do another version of the CAD with different doors on it, and print. Which another thing. Because I think there is a feeling that because this technique gives us so much flexibility, we must use it. We must take advantage of the
exactly.
Not having to tool for something gives us.
And it does show just how versatile this manufacturing technique is, that you can do that. You can effectively make a short production run of a one-off van to give that something a little bit different.
And once they're gone, they're gone. They can be repeated, but whether or not they will depend on Rails' perception of demand, how quickly they sell, how well they sell, but also of course crowding theory. So it is a way of starting to tackle that prototypical variety that's kind of been for economic reasons been beyond the ability of a sort of injection molded based product to tackle.
We had a couple of questions come in on the live chat. We've got Robert says, so how much research material have you had to accumulate to be able to do these wagons? Is there a lot of material out there to be able to make these 100% accurate to the prototype? There clearly isn't the volume of material that you would associate with locomotives. There are only so many photographs. For example, it's a goods wagon, but we did work from the general arrangement drawings, sort of, and those were composite drawings. So they often had a mixture of different features. They sometimes mismatched features, so we had to go off and find separate drawings of components, be it an axle box or the springs or the ventilator. So in a way, you sort of have to cobble together a suite of prototype drawings. We use drawings from York. We use drawings from HMRS to have a general arrangement drawing for this vehicle, for example, which we used.
and the photographs and the notes. Things like livery, of course. That there are a limited number of photographs of this wagon. Certain liveries are based on. There are, for the southern wagons, have been some sort of livery diagram drawings which are reproduced in the books, and others it's simply a question of understanding what the livery practice was, and applying it to this particular vehicle if there doesn't happen to be a photograph of the vehicle that type that you want with that particular livery. So there's a certain amount of sort of intelligent interpretation of the available sources, because certainly not everything is laid out for you as a sort of
yeah. But I suppose at the end of the day, if you can't find the information, nobody else can to prove you wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we don't think we've made any mistakes. But as to which wagon went into which livery, when, or if indeed it did at all, in some cases, it's impossible to know. Yeah. So what you can do is you can say, absent a photograph of a particular wagon in a particular livery at a particular date, you can say, this is how this wagon would have appeared at such and such a phase of its development, and we can be confident of that because of X, Y, and Z.
Brilliant.
Certainly we have taken a lot of pains to get this right with the available data that there is.
I mean, it is absolutely stunning, and I should also add as well that you were part of the research team behind the Terrier as well, were you not?
I was brought in during that project mainly to try and identify the various physical differences between the identities that had already been chosen for the model, to see if we could not supplement the tooling suite or the design, which was based on the 7mm model, with sort of additional slides that would help to capture some of the distinct features that the chosen versions dictated. So it was a way of trying to better match or extend the tooling suite to make sure that each model would better match its sort of livery and identity. Yeah. So that was fascinating, and I had a bit of a head start on that because I had been approached by a consortium of people who wanted to commission a Terrier. Well, when Rails, DAP, NRM announced they were going to do that came to a rather rapid stop. So I was able to sort of pick up with them when they kindly asked me to. But yes, that's been a fascinating process, as of course has been looking at the D class subsequently, which is I think where you and I first met.
Yeah, that's right. Because I'm guessing a lot of people may know you from RM Web as Edwardian.
Yes.
Which was the first time I actually met you in person was at the National Railway Museum for the D class launch. And that was also coincidentally when I first learnt about the 3D printed SECR wagons. But look, it's been great talking to you. I'm going to have to move on. I've got another manufacturer that I need to interview. But look, it's been great talking to you. It's James Hilston, everybody, who was part of the research team behind the South Eastern and Chatham Railway 3D printed vans that Rails of Sheffield are bringing out, and we've posted the link up so people can now get their order in for those. But it's great chatting to you, and thank you very much for taking the time out to speak to us.
Well, Jenny, thank you. You've been extremely generous with your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, and great show. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye. That was James Hilston, everybody, and it was great to be able to chat with him and just get a little bit of the backstory behind the South Eastern and Chatham Railway. And for some reason, Siri, get lost. My phone keeps responding to thinking that I'm talking to it. So there's the van in question, and they really are lovely, lovely wagons. And if you get a chance to get hold of some of these, they are well worth every single penny. Now, we're going to be getting Sven from Train-O-Matic, who you may know as being the channel sponsor, up shortly. But just initially, are we able to bring up a short video? Because I need a comfort break. I've been cannonballing Diet Coke and it's starting to percolate through.
What video would you like?
If you put a train running video on. Oh, somebody asks, can we, James Pett says, can we get a close-up of the van? So I'm just going to hold that close. So hopefully that's on screen. I can't actually see the screen at the moment. So that's the van. And it really, you wouldn't know it was 3D printed unless somebody actually told you. They really are that good. So, and this one's actually, I've been running it round the layout a little bit. And the wheels were a little bit stiff at first, but actually running it has really made a difference. So at the moment, the cupboard monkey is just lining up a. What are you actually putting up?
I'm trying to get some running videos up for you. It's decided that it won't do it for me at the moment. So
what you need is I did find the on-train camera wagon run round the garden of Bolton Trinity Road and the garden layout. If it wasn't too difficult to find. So the cupboard monkey is just going to find that, and this is just so I can let's have a look. No, for some reason you are successfully and heroically not finding the videos we're looking for. So
okay, Jen, you pick which one you want, because clearly the technical monkey is not technical enough.
Yeah, you're not. So I'm going to try and find.
You've got to love it, haven't you?
Yeah, you can't get the stuff, can you?
You can, but you pay peanuts, so you get monkeys. You get cupboard monkeys.
Yeah, right. You don't have to work with me. You get to work with me. Right. Somewhere. Can we go? For some reason Will you stop messing about? Oh, what you've done? You've broken it.
I haven't broken it. You broke it.
Why has this changed down the side? What have you done to break it? So we go to playlists, and we should have. People watching this are wondering what on earth is going on.
Yeah, at the moment we're just having all kinds of issues.
No, we're not.
Here we are.
See, there you are. How difficult was this?
Very, very difficult. It's
Apparently
terrible.
it was. So, people are on YouTube going, you know what? I could have just gone and searched for this myself. So, you all know what the Weir Yard looks like.
How about that one? Yeah, revisiting the Ayaka.
No. Trains running extensive model. No, that's not the one. I did. This is the one.
Okay. You just click on that.
Yeah, you bring it up and put it up for the nice people, and then just remember this camera's live. So
it is. So I'm going to let you run off ski.
Yeah, you might need to make this full screen.
Yes, I will at one point.
Yeah, once it's finished running the unskippable advert.
I hate unskippable adverts.
YouTube. Oh, I just punched my own ear. It's really weird actually because they're kind of bigger than my head. So you probably want to make that full screen. You know, Shift Control 5 does that. And then, do we get sound?
I haven't put sound on it. I've turned the sound off because I'm going to comment all the way through it.
Okay. Right, and I shall be back shortly.
It's time for me. You run off now.
Don't forget to like this video and share it too, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so.
Shoot. Hello everyone. Jen is having a comfort break because, well, we've been going now for 2 hours and she's talked non-stop. Basically, she needs to go and gargle some mouthwash to make her voice box work properly again. You might have noticed I've been moving the little Doctor Who TARDIS around. It's just one of those things. But now, what we've got up on screen for the main screen is a little running session from quite a while ago now. It's been a very long time. That's the old Garden Railway. And the way I used to do this is, you can see sometimes we would have to hold various cameras in various positions to get these shots. Some of it, there's the way it's moving just there. That is quite unfocused because it's a mobile phone. To get that low level thing, we would just basically, if I can grab the phone here, we place it so close to the track that you'd almost not be able to move it far without knocking into the train. But you've got to get the camera low down. If you use it the wrong way up with the camera high up, it doesn't work as well because you get a different angle and it doesn't look like you stood at the side of the track. So these shots are actually really difficult to get sometimes, and Jen is terrible for it. I tell you now, she is terrible for turning the trains and just setting them off, and I'll miss my time. So if you want a certain shot, you've got to wait for the train to come back round, which is why sometimes you'll notice that trains move in the directions that they're going. So we'll have a train coming like we got here on the screen. Train coming round, and there's no other locomotive next to it. But in the next shot, there's a locomotive going past. That's because I missed my next shot because she speeds and slows them down. She thinks she's helping. She's really not. It's just one of those things. So it's a lot of fun to make this stuff. And then it takes about half an hour to 45 minutes to get all of the shot. There you go. See, there wasn't a train going by in the previous shot, but now there is. It's just one of those things. It takes half an hour, 45 minutes to get all of the shots for a 5 or 6 minute video, because a lot of it is moving around and the camera wasn't focused, it didn't quite look right, things like that. We use a variety of cameras. This shot here that you're seeing now is not the mobile phone anymore because it's at the side of the layout. I was able to put a tripod out and get the big camera that we normally use for the face-on shots and when we're doing the unboxing reviews. I think that's the other camera with the tripod as well. So you've got to get from a variety of angles, variety of cameras, just to get the shots that you want, and then it takes me about an hour to edit it together to get the final running thing. But Jen, this layout doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No, completely gone. In fact, that tree's gone as well.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, those green coaches going round there, behind the South Eastern and Chatham Railway C-Class. So the person who was asking for us to show that running, actually, you're in luck. But those coaches are the ones going round the layout even now as we speak, fortuitously.
My goodness. So why did we have to get rid of the external layout?
Because it went rotten. The woodwork went rotten.
I thought you built it on the brick pillars specifically to stop that from happening.
You'd have thought. But also, it was only ever temporary until such time as the... what I wanted was for the ground that it was built up on, was built up ground, built up by about 3-4 feet. So, essentially, I had to wait for that to settle. Because if I'd have built my ground level O-gauge layout straight onto that ground, it would have become a roller coaster within a matter of months. But also, it was, at the time, it was a great idea, and I'm very proud of what I achieved on the Garden Railway. As you can see there, we got some wonderful shots, and it was really nice to be able to, for the first time ever, be able to run these incredibly long trains. And you're seeing there my infamous Bachmann 16-ton mineral
You have quite
wagon.
a collection there.
Yeah, it's about... Well, in my collection, I've got about 80, 85. They're not all in that train, but certainly, you're looking at a length of train that I couldn't... That's actually... I think that train is longer than what the space was inside the shed, such that train had to be made up specially to go around the garden, because it was still going into the shed when it reappeared out of the shed at the other side. It was such was its length.
So you basically put a few on and then move it forward, put a few on and move it forward, and stick a locomotive on the front.
Something like that, yeah.
Leslie Gilpin says here, it takes an hour to make a 6-minute video. I must be slow. It took me over 2 hours for a 6-minute video yesterday. Right, Leslie, the reason that the train running videos only take a short amount of time comparatively is due to the fact that I have a very strong process of how to do it. It's like...
You're well practiced.
Yeah, we've been doing this for years, and the way I do it is I get all the shots that I want, hopefully in the right order that I want. Sometimes it's not, but most of the time I get them in the right order, which severely reduces the amount of time I need to edit. And then I set them out in my video editing software to tell a story. Well, I call it a story. It's basically, I wanted to see the locomotive progress from point A on a layout all the way around and back to point A again. Sometimes it'll be, right, we're going to cross over at point B and then another train will come through, but most of the time it goes A to A.
Right.
And once that's done, all you've got to do is chop the start and the end off the video footage where you're pressing and stop and record. And then add in a few transitions, usually a fade. And that's it. That's why the process is so quick. Other videos, like the box openings that she makes me do them so many times. They take 3, 4, even 5 hours, depending on the complexity. But a train running video, if you get the process right in your head, when you start, it's very quick. I think Jen wants to jump back in now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that I've got Sven waiting
Yes,
to
you
come
have.
on.
So,
And, so this is another manufacturer. We're gonna swap places now, so I'm all ready to go. I should put the kitty ears back on.
oh, the cat ears of ultimate
And
power.
also marvel at the fact you may have seen me looking cross and waving around the top of the signal.
I only broke one.
Yeah, the cupboard monkey managed to break a signal.
This
such
is why
as-
she calls me a monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, a cheeky monkey.
That's not the first signal you've broken either. is
It won't be the last.
Oh, right, okay. So
You know it because it's true.
yeah.
Right, I'm bringing you back onto screen now. Come on, Obs. Come on, Obs.
So
You
people
should
are
be
going to
back.
see that kind of.
Yeah, they'll see the kaleidoscope. effect.
I feel emboldened to pretend that I'm in a Queen video for Bohemian Rhapsody. when that happens.
Right,
so,
so I need to get up Sven.
Yes. So Sven, if you're listening, there is about a 10-second delay. So. Sven, this is your 10-second warning that we're going to be calling you in a moment. I'll give it a few seconds because I'm sure he's watching the stream in the background or something.
I'm
So,
going, oh no, they're on to me.
so what I'm also going to do is, like I did with DCC Concepts, let me just untangle all these.
Do you want to get out some of their products?
Yeah.
What do you want? I'll pass them.
It's all right. I'm going to get these three. And people will know Train-O-Matic as being the channel sponsor. And I do get a lot of questions about some of their products.
I'm calling him now.
So we're getting Sven Vanderhart up. Oh, hardware access error.
They can't see the camera this time, so I'm going to try and set it to the Microsoft camera because I think that way.
I'm wondering if the problem is that we used it in the. What we need is to pick a camera that is not being used. So you might have to reset a camera, but not actually go to it, and then. So the technology, OBS is the software that we're using. Somebody did ask us a while ago about that.
It's great, but it's
Yeah.
not foolproof.
Why don't you unplug the camera that we're trying to access, and then re-plug it back in to
Now
try
it's
and...
wanting problem access to the microphone. Manage the microphone. It really is an annoying little.
I wonder if it's because at the moment...
It's just being a cheeky monkey, that's what it is.
No, what I'm saying is at the moment it's using the camera that the microphone's on. So this is all stuff because it's as new to us as it is for everybody else. But Combat Bunny, thank you very much. Posted the link up. So I'm really sorry I haven't really been able to get through the comments in depth. This is really down to this completely new format. This is for our virtual expo this Saturday, in our lockdown Saturday. What a strange world we live in at the moment. So I think what you still need to do is to unplug and reset some of those cameras. But she'll get there eventually. So
I'm trying my best. I am really trying my best.
I know. Like I said, is it going to work?
It doesn't. It just doesn't want to do it. This is.
Is it the microphone or the camera?
I bet if I just make a video call, it'll work. An audio call, it'll work.
Yeah. Well, in that case, unplug and re-plug in the camera if you would.
Okay.
Right. Just unplug it.
You're not showing
Yeah.
that
Right.
one, are you?
Leave it unplugged.
No, you're showing the front one.
Let me. Oh, I can't because if you bring OBS back up.
Yep.
Uh,
This is the first time we've done this.
So
Oh, you were using the live cam when I was trying to access
I was
it.
trying to tell you that. Right, so now it's officially lost, that camera. That's fine. So if you now plug it back in, that should now be discoverable. So if you now try and make the call, it's trying to use that camera. Maybe it'll work. It's a very long-winded way of doing it, isn't it? Basing TMD says, send the toilet roll train through. Brandon Elizondo says, hello. Oh my word, Gareth Waite, that is incredibly generous of you. Afternoon, ladies.
Oh,
How are
thank
you
you.
both? Love the new cameras. I would love to get an O-gauge layout going, but due to space, I'm considering trading some 004N. Yes, space is often an issue, but thank you very much, Gareth Waite, for your £5 super chat donation. That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you very, very much. And yes, space is often an issue. I'm very lucky here that we've got the entire loft of the house up here, even though we've got the end of the house where the roof slopes in 3 different directions.
It's decided it's not going to do it.
We're having some terrible issues here. So,
But watch this. If I make an audio-only call, oh my goodness!
do I need the microphone or not?
There is no reason why you can make an audio call and not change the microphone, but you can't make a video call.
Okay, chanta. So we're just trying to get hold of Sven van der Hart, and I do apologise in advance for Sven. We're trying to get him up on video. We've probably picked that one moment where he's just sat down to eat something.
That works.
Oh, hi, how you do? We're having issues with the software we're using. Has decided that it won't let us use the cameras for reasons that we can't quite work out. So unfortunately, we're going to have to do this audio only. Are you all right with that?
Yeah, that's okay.
And this is Sven from Train-O-Matic. So a big welcome to you to this special Saturday alternative to Ali Pali product expo. And people may be familiar with the Train-O-Matic as being the sponsor of a lot of the videos on this channel. So I thought it would be a great idea on this product expo to bring you in to talk a little bit about some of the great products that Train-O-Matic do. And principally, people are probably familiar with the DCC decoders and the smart power packs because I've done a number of videos utilizing them. But this is an area that you know so much about this. So tell us a little bit about the smart power packs in particular, because I get so many questions about these since I did those videos.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a great way to give more power to your train when you go over a dead piece of track or a point with a dead part. It just drives over it. You can get up to 4 seconds of extra power to it.
Yeah, and it's quite magic. I on the videos, I actually showed these locomotives where you physically pick them off the track and they still keep running.
Yeah, the first time you do that, you're super impressed. I mean, and myself as well. It's just like magic.
Yeah, and it works so much in the way of a wonder for performance. I know a lot of people, especially with smaller locomotives with short wheelbase, DCC really does show up a lot of the little issues that maybe when you're running trains on DC, they're much more forgiving. But if it hits even a momentary dead spot, locomotives on DCC have this annoying habit of just stopping absolutely dead and then slowly building back up to speed because you've obviously got the momentum set up on them. And if you're running with a sound chip as well, quite often it will stop the sound and you have to manually reset that. But the smart power pack alleviates a lot of these problems.
Oh, I can only confirm that, definitely. Well explained.
And in terms of product range, obviously you've got I've got some of your products here. So you do the full range of DCC decoders, but the thing that really impressed me about these, and actually because originally you sent some over just for a review, and I was so blown away with just how easy these were to use. Because quite often I think a lot of people will recognize that when you put a DCC decoder in a locomotive, quite often you then have to fiddle with CV settings to get it to run smoothly. If you put one brand of decoders in a different brand of locomotives, it can sometimes not work as well as if you put it into a third brand of locomotives. But what I found with the Train-O-Matic decoders was it didn't matter what locomotive brand I was putting them into. They were actually they just worked out of the box, which is what every consumer's dream, that you don't have to fiddle to make things work. You just put it in and away it goes.
Well, it still might be the case. I mean, like, for you, everything has been working fine, and my models as well. I mean, normally it works immediately, but you still have the option to tune it to make it even better.
Yeah.
But sometimes it might happen that you have a locomotive with a special motor that doesn't react the way you want it, so you can still fine tune it. But for the masters, it will probably work straight out of the box, like you have experienced.
Yeah, because one of the most tricky locomotives that I found is often Bachmann locomotives. I found that if you put a non-Bachmann brand of decoder into them, they have this very jerky running. Unless you then go in and you have to fiddle with the CV settings.
No, you don't want to do that. No.
But the Train-O-Matic decoders, I put them straight in and they just worked. And that was really the thing that initially I was so impressed with. Well,
you know what we might talk a bit about as well is that a lot of people, and I saw it in the stream last week, where somebody's asking which decoder do I need, and that's true. It's a big range of decoders. I think it's like 12 or more, even 15 decoders. But normally you look like, what kind of connector do I have in my model train? Then you choose and see like which connectors are there, and then you see if you have a lot of space or not much space. Then you choose. That's the next step where you choose. In a way, it's a two-step choice. Make it easier for you instead of being overwhelmed by the amount of decoders that are on offer.
Yeah, because you do a full range of you do the regular sized ones that are great for OO and HO, but there's also a micro sized version which I presume principally aimed at the smaller scales. But
right, yes, yeah. If you do N gauge, then you would definitely go for the smaller ones, and they're only 3.5 pounds more expensive, but they have the whole same thing. You have still the connectors for the power pack on there. You can connect an external sound module through the 4 other solder pads. The only difference will be that the biggest one might be more powerful, just handle a bigger motors. And also they have a few extra functions. So like if you have 4 or 8 light functions connected, you can do it with the largest one. And then the small one, you can do 4 extra functions.
Yeah, and you do more than just in the UK. We're used to 21 pin, 6 pin, 8 pin, and next 18 are starting to come through. But you also cater for the things like the Plux 22, Plux 16 as well. So that there's quite a wide range of decoders for.
You see the Pico. You saw recently a logo of Pico that has a Plux 12. It was me the first time actually that I saw these Plux connectors. But like the ones you mentioned are the most popular ones, indeed. But we do have all of them.
Yeah, and I've also found as well that I've done a lot of hard wiring. A lot of people sometimes get put off by hard wiring an older locomotive. But I've found that actually it's quite easy to do that, and the one which I've tended to go for is either the 8-pin or the 6-pin wired decoders, which they're fully NMRA wiring standard, so the actual colours of the wires are an industry standard, and I found that they work really well in I've got coming up a video of the Hornby Hunslet Austerity, which is one which I get asked about a lot, and I've done a hard wiring of that with the 8-pin decoder, and what impressed me with that was actually it was almost like that Hornby had made the model with a gap that was a perfect fit for the decoder, which I mean, when we chatted about this before, you said sometimes it just kind of things fall into place like that, but these decoders, they follow the NMRA standard perfectly, such that I know I've had problems with some other brands of decoders where it's almost like the decoder is slightly oversized. So when you try and fit them into a locomotive, they don't quite fit. But with these, I've never really had that problem.
Yeah, the great thing I find about the company itself, I mean, I'm helping them to become larger, known on a larger scale. So I'm not employed by them, but I'm just helping them in selling their products. But what I like about the company is that they're really dedicated to really looking at the standards. Let's keep it that way, that we're not going to go out of the standards. We see what's possible, but we want to keep strict to the standards, so it's always compatible. And that might be why you find that a lot of decoders work straight out of the box, because they're keeping to the standard.
Yeah, and the people behind these decoders, Train-O-Matic, they are enthusiasts themselves, so they understand what model rail enthusiasts are actually looking for, because rather than just making a product, selling it, and not necessarily in themselves using it, that they understand what the end user is looking for from a product, perhaps better than a big corporation that might not necessarily be railway modelers at heart.
Well, I think most of the decoder manufacturers, they're all, if you see them speak, they're all dedicated to that work. They're model train fans. You can see that. So I believe that this standard is with every decoder maker, that they like. We want to make what we love. But you don't have, in this case, I think with a different Train-O-Matic, there's not like a big corporation that stops to create people. They actually stimulate them. So I don't know how it works with others, but I feel like with Train-O-Matic, they really have the freedom to do more than you is asked for.
And the other thing as well, which I was actually interested, I only found this out recently, but there's more than just the DCC decoders that Train-O-Matic do. And I know you've told me about the coach lighting kits is one of the product ranges, which is certainly becoming more and more of a thing in the UK. People wanting to put lights into coaching stock.
Yeah, if you have a digital layout, and then it's only it's perfect to have lighting in, because it's all the time on. On the analog, you only come on when you turn the controller on. But in digital, it's always lighting. So they made a small one for N-gauge, and they made a longer one for HO or double O in your case. And you can cut it to size to they fit in any coach. They come also with a capacitor, so like you have with the smart power pack, there's a capacitor to let the train go, keep the train running. And they also have this for the coaches, but like the smaller one, they don't need to have the technology. Or it doesn't need to be like an expensive decoder to connect. You just have two simple capacitors, and you can choose one or two, and so the light will not flicker when it's riding on your layout.
Yeah, and little things like that can add so much to a model. There's so much more depth if you can have coaches that light up. It then brings up the possibility that you can then add passengers into there. You can really, you can make an actual coach into a full detailing project, which I know a lot of people like that aspect of the hobby. So I think products like that add so much more in terms of what the modeler gets out of the hobby.
Yeah, I think when you're finished putting decoders in your locomotive, you can start lighting them up. You see a lot of coaches that could do with some light. You can turn off the light and just enjoy your layout in the dark.
Yeah, and also I guess that the same products as well, you can use aspects of that, not just in rolling stock, but in buildings as well, to be able to light up buildings.
What we did with so the small lighting bars, a moment I noticed that we have some N-gauge, English N-gauge, and I noticed that Daypol, they make this plug, a light bulb with a plug, so you can easily plug it in, and you don't have to do any soldering. But then for the last few months, maybe a year, they didn't make that light bar anymore. So a lot of people were asking for the light bar. And when I had my own models, I had the Class 43, the Dayport Class 43, which is a beautiful model, and it has this plug. But if you can't buy any lights with the plug, you can't do anything with it. So we started selling the light bar with that plug. You still would have to solder it yourself, but it's available, so you can actually solder the light bar out of with the cable out of the train, and then you just plug it in like you would do with the Dayport one. The advantage as well that we were able to make it cheaper, and then the Dayport one was, and it also comes with two capacitors, so you will have not flickering on the track.
Yeah, because I guess that's one of the areas with coach lighting when they go across things like insel frogs, you can get that annoying flicker as they very momentarily lose power. So by having the capacitor in there, it's a bit like putting a smart power pack in your loco. It just smooths it out and keeps everything running without.
But just not so many minutes. It's just not so many seconds. It's enough to get to make sure it doesn't flicker. And then the more you put in there, you actually have more connectors. So you can actually put 5 capacitors to it if you want to. But then you will see them when you look through the windows. But normally I put I solder one capacitor to the light bar, and then you're able to hide it at the end in the toilet or something like that.
And is it, Joe, talking about the capacitors and the smart power packs, one of the things I actually only learnt from you this morning before we started the stream was that with the smart power packs that Train-O-Matic do, it is actually possible to remove the capacitor and then kind of extend it on extra wires. So to ease fitting them into locomotives, you can kind of put the capacitor remote to the board, which in turn can be remote to the decoder, to make best use of the space inside the locomotive.
Yeah, the area where the capacitor is connected, there's enough space around it that when you desolder the wire, the connectors of the capacitor, you won't touch anything else. Or you can just cut it off and then solder the wire between them. You don't have to desolder them. Yeah,
because I'm looking at one now actually, and now that you've mentioned it, it is quite thoughtfully laid out that the connectors that the capacitors solder to are at the very end of the board. So like you say, that it minimises any risk of heat damaging any of the other components.
Well, the only thing is that you actually have to desolder 2 wires at the same time. So what I normally do, I wrap it into something soft, then I put it in the vise to hold it, and then while soldering, you pull it towards you. And,
I'm with you. But certainly, I mean, it's because that was one of the things that I found when I was fitting these into locomotives, because you do the 2 different smart power packs. There's one which is ostensibly aimed towards the N-gauge market, but actually does work equally as well on 00 locomotives. And then you've got the full-size one. And I found they're both equally as good at powering 00 locomotives, but because of the difference in size and shape, they actually it aids how you fit them into the locomotive. So the N-gauge,
you can spread them over the model.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've actually found the N-gauge ones, the N smart power packs, because they're much longer and thinner. They're very, very useful for sliding inside boilers on steam locomotives, and that's how I've tended to use them. Oh, it just you've I see. I've leant against I think I've changed the points, which in turn has meant that all of my trains just crashed.
Yeah, I see it like you said, 10 seconds later.
There's a delay on the feed, so I can see that I have managed.
And now see you panicking there.
It's typical. I think I heard a click, and that was probably caused by me leaning on a switch that's changed the points.
It's interesting that in that crash, actually, you gained 10 more viewers. Maybe they're coming to look for the spectacle.
Yeah, it's one of the things people love a good crash.
Yeah.
But,
maybe you should do it like they have done on YouTube, these Lego videos where they run two Lego trains fast into each other. Maybe
yeah,
you should do that with two old ones.
I've seen videos like that, and I never understood why people would want to do that, but they do seem to draw a massive audience. I'm going to leave them be for now, because otherwise I'm going to be scooping up trains and stuff. We've still got two that are running round, but that's entirely my fault. I basically lent on a switch.
It's all working now.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll behave itself now. I'm going to change the camera angle so people can't marvel at my two crashed trains.
It's a pity we don't have any video connection, because I had a small camera prepared for you, which I think you might find very interesting. I saw the video of the garden railway which we made before, and I was thinking I have this really, really tiny camera. It's about 1.5 by 1.5 inch cube.
Oh,
you can
right.
put it on a train, and you just put it on your track, and then you can watch it on your computer, or you can watch it on your phone, and it just you have live view from out of your own train. And you know that the company like Roku, they make the train with this camera in there. But they're quite expensive. But this is only like £15, and then you have everything.
Yeah, and stuff like that is sometimes it can. I find when you see a model layout from that kind of angle, it's like you see the model differently, and it adds such a greater depth to a model.
I think you would also then rethink how you build your layout. This will now make it that you actually go through things you might not be able to see when you look it from the side, but when you're driving with the camera through it, it's a different experience.
I know, because we've got we nickname it the Action Cam. It's quite old. It's an old Panasonic camera, but it's I think it's actually intended for people who go skydiving or rock climbing, and they put it on their helmets. But it's small enough.
Oh, this is even smaller. I'll type in it. This is called the SQ13.
Yeah,
look for it on AliExpress. Have you heard about that one?
I think I've heard about it. The one that we've got is about I think we've had it about 7 or 8 years, so it's quite an old one now.
Right.
But the problem with model layouts is often that being able to fit them within the loading gauge. So I know the one that we've got, it just fits within the loading gauge. So you mount it on a flat wagon and you can kind of propel it around the layout.
Yeah, let me see how much tall it is. It's 1.1 inch square.
That is quite small, yeah.
I know. It's tiny.
And what sort of quality images does it provide?
Very good, and it's also not stuttering. It connects over Wi-Fi. So you just connect to it like it's a Wi-Fi station, and it's super impressive. And I opened it up to see if I could actually take all the parts out and put it in a model train, and it is doable. It's not that big. Future project.
Oh, brilliant! It's a shame. It's just it's a new experience for us doing this expo with getting live guests on. And it's the software we use is a bit flaky. I think the more we do it, the better we're going to get at it. But it's one of those things.
Or we can have it at another time in another show.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is we maybe set up a pre-recorded video, and actually we can get better control over the what the cameras are doing.
Yeah, sure.
But certainly. But to go back to some of the other products as well, before I forget about it.
Yes, the ABC.
The ABC, which is for anybody who's wondering what that is. It's basically like a shuttle. I think people remember. I know for a great many years, and in fact, I think they still do make it. GaugeMaster did a DC shuttle, which allows you to do this to a very basic level on DC running. But you can actually do it with DCC decoders as well, and the Train-O-Matic decoders have native support for this. So I was very interested when you told me, this is...
You have it already. You only have to saw twice in your track. There.
So basically all I need is the gaps in the track and the modules that plug to that, and hey presto, you can have effectively extra locomotives running that will do a predetermined path.
which stop even, so you can depart from one station, then it can stop in between, and then continues. You tell it how many seconds it has to wait, and then continue to the last station, and you can do it back and forth.
And I think it's a great idea, because quite often, people might be limited on a model railway that they can't have a continuous run. They have to have something that shuttles backwards and forwards. And say if you're at an exhibition, if you want to talk to people who are coming up, sometimes it's a great idea to have something that will just do that without needing the operator input. Or indeed, if you've got a big layout, it allows you to run extra trains, which will just do that independent from what you're doing. So, I'm looking at the layout that I've got up here, Weir Yard. It's a big marshalling yard. So I could see the ability to have, say, like shunting locomotives going up and down the yard whilst trains are running on the main line would add a whole new depth of operation, which I think it would be a great addition to a model like this.
Have you thought about using a computer to control your layout?
I have
program anything.
I have thought about that, yes. We've only comparatively recently bought a computer that is powerful enough to be able to run software to do that. So I'm still in the throes of setting up this computer to do all the things that I want, but certainly computer control of the layout is an area that I do want to explore.
But I guess that your problem would be because everything is already built in, all your landscape is there, that you wouldn't be able to, you have to break up a lot apart, because every section needs to have its own receiver and recognizing that's a train in that block.
Yeah, I get, there is obviously an element of that, and because of the, I've got a fiddler yard that goes underneath it all, which is means that there's not a lot of space.
No.
Excuse me, to get underneath to kind of drill holes, because it's blocked by the fiddler yard, which is a shame. But I think there's elements of the computer control which I can introduce into the layout. I mean, even just simple things such as keeping track of what's in the fiddle yard, because you can't physically see all the sidings in the fiddle yard.
Why don't you put a camera there?
We tried that. The problem I've got is that the headroom is very, very low. So
low.
when you mount a camera there, what you actually see is
the train runs into it.
Well, not so much that, but you see a sea of roofs. The camera can't get high enough to actually see what's on all the tracks. So all you see is this is 14 parallel tracks of roofs of coaches, but you don't actually know what they are.
So you want to know which train is standing there, not that there is a train, but you want to know which train is standing there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found is that I've, for want of a better expression, I've lost stuff somewhere in the fiddle yard. I know it's there. It's just that without actually taking everything out line by line, I can't find it. I know that, for example, down there, I've got a particular coach, but I can't quite find which line it's sitting on. And I think having a means...
How many tracks have you got there?
Sorry?
How many tracks have you got there in the fiddle yard?
The fiddle yard underneath is... the main area is 14 parallel tracks. And and then it's got an additional area, which is 5 parallel tracks underneath the different sections. So there's... I think I've got about 200 coaches down there, which is quite a lot of rolling stock. But short of actually pulling them all out, it's very difficult to remember what's on which track.
But I saw last on Monday night, Monday club, you took your locomotives from the shelf. Have you got a shelf and everything is lined up there?
The locomotives I keep separately. They're not in the fiddle yard. They're kept on shelves, so it's very easy to swap locomotives on and off the track.
But you still have them in boxes as well, or
no. They're just sat side by side on shelves. I've put up some fairly big shelves, but I mean, again, there's like 200 locomotives, so it's you'd need quite a fiddle yard to be able to.
Still more coming.
Sorry.
There's still more coming.
I know. Yeah, I've got two more coming at the moment, which are for upcoming reviews. So it's It can get quite addictive, I have to say.
Yes, you know, and I know how it is.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like if I want a new logo, then one has to go. You know, so in a way.
Oh, so you're actually much stricter on yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It doesn't always work that way, but
I
one
see.
moment you run out of logos, you want to sell. So, but yeah, I've seen people with 6 for the locomotive, and when I saw that, I got that shocked. There was like dust everywhere. Everything was just too much boxes everywhere, like a labyrinth walking through the house. You know.
Yeah, well,
Like, you know,
everything's out of the boxes, and I've got a lot of storage drawers as well. They never actually appear on the live stream because they're down underneath. So
Right.
I've got they're like little trays that are designed specifically to take rolling stock. So I've got about 200 wagons in trays, and then I've got another 200 coaches in the fiddle yard.
Right.
Plus, there's probably about another 150 items of rolling stock on the layout itself, and then there's the 200 locos, mostly on shelving, but then on the layout there's about 30 at any one time.
It's surprising because it doesn't look that big. The layout doesn't look that large, I have to say.
A lot of people say when they visit, they say it's actually bigger in person. I think that
Right.
because of the way the cameras work,
Yes.
they kind of squeeze your view into small areas. So
Yes, of course.
we can and also the other thing is the shot that's just gone up on screen. I know there's a 10-second delay, so you might not be able to see it yet. That area there,
Counting down.
you're looking at about probably about 16 feet long, which
If
is
I stick my arm in as for scale, like I can't even reach the end.
so. Yeah, I mean, it's about 16 feet long by 4 feet wide, which is so you're looking at 1 meter 25 by probably how many meters would that be? That'd be 3, 4, 5, probably about 6 meters long.
Wow. Okay.
So the camera foreshortens it. It's a bit like looking at it through a telephoto lens.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And then you've got to imagine that underneath all of that is solid fiddle yard as well. So
right.
just completely filled with rolling stock.
You just have to hope no coaches derailing in your fiddle yard, I would say. Then squat at back.
They're generally very well behaved.
Right.
The tracks are carefully laid to be dead straight. Where the actual rolling stock sits on the sidings, it is dead straight. But you know, that's 20 years worth of collecting stuff. And
Yes.
when you talk about saying, well, you know, it's a one in, one out policy, I tried that at the start, but I found that when I sold things, I then immediately regretted selling them, and it's like, oh, you know, I really wanted to run that locomotive, and I sold it.
Then you wouldn't be able to make that long brake van. Train.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that was, I think there was 54 brake vans on that train.
Yes.
And then afterwards, when I went to put them away, I kept finding more in storage. It's like, I forgot about that one.
Well, don't worry. You get then Sam's train can maybe make another longer one, and then you can actually make a longer one. But you shouldn't have said that you have more of that.
But it's not a competition, though. But it was good fun, actually. And it's one of my weaknesses, brake fans. I just really love brake fans.
I see there's a question here. If I plan to build M-scale decoders for US-based logos.
Ah, yes.
Well, what do you mean drop in if the those trains? I don't know which ones he's talking about. He's talking about.
But, I don't know whether that's Next 18 are kind of drop-in decoders.
But they have actually, I would say, all possible connectors. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I must admit, I'm not familiar with N-gauge stock. Although I do know that there's. I have seen decoders on the market that have pins that are at 90 degrees to the board. I don't know whether...
the Train-O-Matic has also those ones.
Right.
This is a 6-pin decoder, but just the pins are banned. The Roku or the HOE.
Yes, that's the one.
They have that. Yes.
So, I guess the range is. I know when I've done reviews, there's obviously just the 4 different decoders that I tend to use, but there's actually a much bigger range. Which anybody, if they want to go to the Train-O-Matic or the Tramfabrique websites, they'll see the full range, which are all available in the UK and globally. But obviously, because I model UK outline, I don't tend to use the other decoders, but
No.
nonetheless they are there and available. Just seeing. I've just posted the link up, so if people want to check out there, and also at tramfabrique.nl is the Sven's website for the.
But based in England, huh?
And that's the tramfabrique.nl is UK based, which means that when you order the decoders, they do come very, very quickly. I know I ordered some earlier this week, and they arrived within a couple of days.
Well, next day, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah,
normally, try to do it like as if you order before 12, we'll send it the same day, and then normally you should get the. Well, we don't know now in this period, but normally you should get the next day.
Brilliant. It's been great having you on. Actually, we've not really talked much before. It's one of those weird things. We've talked via
Texting,
email,
yeah.
but it is great to have you on. And how are you coping then with this this lockdown, which we all seem to have found ourselves in?
Well, personally, it doesn't really change my life because I'm a model builder by trade, and we tend to work from home. So normally I go to the shop and buy food for a week. So I think it seems to me like everybody is adjusting to my lifestyle instead of I'm adjusting to other lifestyles.
I mean, it's interesting that you say you're a professional model builder. So what sort of stuff have you done?
I make small model steam trams, mainly from the Netherlands.
Ah, yes, because you sent me the little postcards. I'm just looking around now. I've got some handy somewhere I can show to the camera. So they're actually models that you've built, are they?
Yes, they're all everything is hand built. Even the drive is hand built. So it's a brass drive. It has a nickel silver etched frame. And the inside, the boiler with all the tubes on it, it's 3D print. And then there's some of the small ones are even sound and light.
All right. So, and are they a stock item, or do you make them to order?
Well, I try to keep up to make stock, but it's quite a lot of work to build one. It takes a few days.
I can imagine.
And next to the other things I'm selling, it's kind of a lot of work. So I can't keep up to make stock, but that is the plan. And I'm now hired somebody who's going to help me out with packing and manufacturing. So hopefully, in the future, I should be able to have things of stock.
Brilliant. And if people are interested in looking at more on those, they can find all that on your website, which...
if you go to tramfabrique.nl and you click on products, you will see there's trains there, steam trains. And the rail car you're seeing now, that's actually my latest model. And the interesting thing I found with this one, it has I built it this way that it has several layers of brass on the side. So you actually have... the windows, they're not glued on the inside. You just shove them, just slide them between the panels.
Right.
So you get from in and outside, you don't see that there's just a sheet of plastic.
Excellent. They're really nice, actually. I did wonder, actually, because the first time you sent me decoders, I remember it came with these little postcards, and I just thought that they were so beautiful. I hadn't actually realised at the time that these were models that you build yourself, but they are absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. Well, look, anyway, it's been great having a chat with you. I'm just checking on the time. We're going to have to start rounding off this live stream, but it's been wonderful to chat with you and just basically show people some of the products in the Train-O-Matic range.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time out to come on. And I know we're living through interesting times, but it's one of the things that I'm hoping to try and do more of is to provide this kind of community interaction between modelers and also retailers and manufacturers, so that even though I think a lot of people are stuck at home, not able to get out to exhibitions, not able to get out to shops, they can still see all these great things that are on offer that people can still get hold of and to add to their hobby. So thanks very much, Sven, for coming on and
thank you for the Thank you for what you're doing for the community. It's nice for people to come here and they have a place to talk about these things. It feels like a live place to be. So that's a good thing.
Well, thank you very much. Well, look, you take great care of yourself, and I'll catch up with you later.
Oh, I haven't talked later.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Sven from Tramfabrique.nl, suppliers of Train-O-Matic DCC decoders and other stuff as well. As we were talking about there, we've got lighting kits for coaches, smart power packs, as well as the ABC technology, which is fully compatible with the Train-O-Matic decoders, which effectively allows you to program a DCC fitted locomotive to shuffle along and even stop at intermediate stations. So a big thank you to Sven for taking the time out to have a talk with us. The Cupboard Monkey, what are you after?
Now that we've had all the talks and interviews, which I think have been really interesting, I've certainly learned a few things. I hope everyone's enjoyed them. How about now we show off a few layouts, like we were talking about. Time for layouts?
Yeah, no worries. Well, what we can do there, that's we can swap places so I can rest my ears, because my ears are hurting. I have to say to people, wearing kitty ears it gets painful after. I'd forgotten just what it's like to wear headphones for a 3-hour show, because I used to do this for radio, and people are wondering about the cutesy little. Where did you get these anyway?
Amazon.
So you got these off Amazon. So if anybody wants a saccharine sweet, I'm sure that these are probably intended for the Japanese market more than anything. But
it's her new DJ name. You see, it goes with a new persona, QT Pie.
QT Pie. I'm sure that's already taken.
Of course it is. So, some weird otaku nerd.
You might have
stuff.
to explain otaku.
Otaku, it's people who are far too invested in companies and certain cultures that are all around manga and anime and things like that. Do you want to repair your layout while I
yes.
ask the viewers, are there any layouts that you would like to show off? If you've got any...
if you have a YouTube video, it has to be clean and focus on the layout.
We won't have the audio on so that we can talk about it.
Yeah,
and we want to show off the layouts. We want to let you show your layouts if you're at a convention.
So post a quick link to your YouTube video, and if you're happy for us to play them, let us showcase some of your layouts. It's like that bit in Tony Hart.
Oh, Heartbeat and all that.
Yeah, and a few pictures from your own gallery.
I can't remember them.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm going to move the camera to the back because you were about to lean over that and deal with.
Anyway, we're going to change places, and you can queue up the stuff. So,
you can repair your crash. So, do you want to move?
No worries.
Yes, thank you, Combat Bunny, for saying thanks. Smash that like button. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
We have 153 people watching at the moment, which is really nice, but only 112 likes. My goodness.
But we had a lot of people through. I did see it go up close to 200 at one point.
Yeah, we've had a fair amount of people in, which is really nice.
But obviously, don't forget to share this this link as well. And again, have we got anybody offering up? Aha! Leslie Gilpin has offered up a YouTube video. So, what did you do? Did you break it?
Yeah, I pressed the wrong button because it's my first time in the driver's seat for a little time. So, hopefully we're still online. Yes, I think we are.
Time out.
Oh my goodness, yes we are.
I'm going to take the time out to repair this signal, everybody.
What signal?
The Cupboard Monkey.
I did nothing of the sort. I did
knocked over.
You can't prove anything.
Yes, I can.
She can't prove. Sorry, Leslie Gilpin, that doesn't seem to be loading. Oh, I see why.
What's wrong?
Because it won't.
Why won't it?
Because it's put something wrong on the front. What? Here we go. Here we are. Cannock Union Station. So we're going to go over to that, and I'm just going to quickly pop You get the weird effect. Here we are. And I'm going to actually just turn off autoplay. You've got autoplay turned on.
Not intentionally.
Yeah, it seems to want to do it though. Wow, this looks really good.
Oh, I say, that is nice.
Yeah, I'm loving the depth. And from my point of view, I'm not a big train person, but I do love the models. So the focus on scenery here is great from my point of view. Wow, look at the size of that bridge. Look how far that goes down. Oh my goodness, Leslie Gilpin, that is brilliant. Robert Becking says L plates for Zoe. Yeah.
Well,
Whoa, I love some of the angles you've got here. They're great. Oh yeah. Few action shots. And an airport. I'm a big airport first person. I love aircraft. Big on flight simulators. Gareth Wade says, could you give Oliver, my eldest, a shout out, Jenny? Can you do that?
Big shout out to Oliver. How are you doing?
There you go. So yeah, this is actually wow, that is amazing. I see you've got the similar sort of setup as Jen. She's stockpiling pretty much everything she can underneath the layout, just as we're seeing here. That is wonderful. I love the different heights. That's one thing I've noticed with a lot of the really nice layouts. There's always multiple levels, aren't there?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to...
I shouldn't say that because your little low gauge thing is just flat. I thought you were going to sort out the crash that you caused.
Yeah, I'm just fixing the broken signal that you caused.
I didn't break anything. You can't prove nothing.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you probably can. But you shouldn't. You shouldn't prove nothing. Oh, that is wonderful. It's in a 16:8 shed at N scale.
Huh.
Wow. Jen's just knocked the microphone, so if you heard that, I'm surprised that it's N scale. The camera really hides what size things are, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I was thinking it was HO, but actually that is pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. I'm even more impressed now. That is really cool. Dragon Junction says, look up Big Jet TV if you want planes. I will do that, Dragon Junction. Thank you.
I know that Miniature Wonderland has aeroplanes that take off and land in the model.
That's pretty cool. They're on wires, I take it.
I guess so.
Yeah. Do we have any more links? We don't at the moment, but always happy to have some more links.
So
if anyone else wants
to share their model layout, then post a link and...
Yeah. Gareth Waite says, I assume, Zoe, you have checked out the Wonderland Airport. That is an amazing model airport. I haven't, but I'm going to now that you've mentioned it, because I am a big fan of aircraft. What kind of aircraft do they have? Is it...
like big jumbos and stuff?
Yeah. That's the thing. Everyone either goes for one of two things. They go for military aircraft, which are perfectly fine, or they go for 747s and other jumbo passenger jets, which is perfectly fine. I'm not really focused on either of them. I like single propeller aircraft, like the old Cessna 172P. The Skyhawk is the best. It's the most popular non-commercial aircraft ever made, for good reason. It's like a hatchback with wings. It's lovely.
Hatchback with wings? Is that a technical term?
It's a four-seater aircraft, and it's great. So this is wonderful, and Timber Surf says he's got lots of exhibition videos on his channel. Are they of your own? Layout there, Timber Surf? Because that's what we really want. I want to show off people's own stuff so that we can talk to them about it. That's really what we want to do here. Show off people's layouts and talk about how they've done it. I'm really surprised that's N-Gauge. I really am, because I thought it was
You were
bigger.
very impressed. Oh, I'm sticking my fingers together. It's super glue, thanks.
Yeah, but you do that all the time anyway. That's like your other hobby.
Yes, Sally. That's no. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look what you've done to me.
I can do that too.
Oh, whoops.
Live long and prosper. Ah, no!
If anybody's wondering, I just high-fived Zoe with super glue on my fingers. I've got to keep my fingers wide apart now so that the super
Never
glue
mind.
dries without sticking.
Apparently they are commercial, including a couple that were never built. That's impressive. I'm going to look that up now. Thank you very much for that.
So does anybody else want to share a YouTube video for their...
Well, while we're on sharing and hoping that someone else will join in, why don't we have a look at some of the ones that you have made?
Ah, yes. So,
Let me bring up this.
Flymo Chairman 1 says, some folks are having trouble posting a link. Can we offer them if they use DOS instead of www. Right, we've got Combat Bunny. Have you got Combat Bunnies?
I have not. I will grab that now.
So,
Where is
Combat Bunny,
Combat
we're
Bunny?
just finding your link there.
I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm going to jump back to just our layout. While I grab that URL. If you just put the watch bit... Oh, I am so sorry, guys, for coughing. I actually have the virus, and it's really, really awful. You're all right until you start talking. It's awful, awful stuff. Okay, in YouTube, there is a bit in the URL that says watch V equals, and then a load of gibberish. If you just send the V equals and then the load of gibberish, I can get that in.
You not got Combat Bunny's comment from the comments? Does it not come up? Oh,
I've got it, yeah. But while I was saying that, I'm now going to jump to his. Here we are. Building a loft model railway at Melchester.
Oh, that is great to see. I'm always really interested to see other people's model railways. Aha!
Isn't that nice?
Are they Metcalfe buildings?
Wow. I'm not sure what we're looking at there.
Somebody's lost.
Okay, let's jump back a little bit and start again. There we go. Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely.
Oh, I'm loving the perspective.
And there's a lot going on as well. It's,
yeah. Look at that perspective. It feels like it goes way back.
I want to skip forward a little bit. Just.
Oh, this is how he's built it.
Ah.
Right, now I get what's going on.
Actually, it's really nice to see where people start. It's one of the things that we found with when I built the loft layout up here, is that people really like that, seeing it from start to finish.
Oh, yeah. That's some interesting shots as well. What is that? Is that...
Oh, you've got like a camera train, I presume, or a camera on the train.
That's pretty cool. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. It's a camera on the track waiting for the train. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to hit. It's going to hit. Oh. Oh, that's good. We got away from it. Oh. Now that's a tunnel.
And that is actually something that, you know, if you are space starved, it does mean, you know, laying your stuff out on the floor. I know people poo-poo carpet train running, but it's
we do tip the mix sometimes. Yeah, a certain person
tongue
does
in
it.
cheek.
Yeah.
But, actually, all is said, it's a great way of being able to run stuff, and you know.
You've done it before as well.
Yeah, and unless you've got a really shaggy carpet, you don't have to actually worry too much about carpet fibres.
You could always put some books or newspaper down underneath as well.
But it's nice to see model layouts developing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're seeing an awful lot of the development, and I like the way that, you know, you're getting the baseboards there, the different levels. Placing of the buildings as well is very important.
Levels are very important when it comes to getting a good look at a railway.
I didn't have it scrolling there.
What's up? Have we had any more URLs? Or even just the code to get to the particular video? Because I can grab
Melchester Model Railway says, chat says you can't post links.
Yeah, sometimes it can't. So
I don't know whether it's only admin can.
It might be, yeah. Which is why I'm saying send the V equals.
Yeah, if you cut and paste it, but take off the HTTP.
No, not even that. It'll know. Or send them to Jenny on her.
Oh, we've got one here. V equals from Adams Railway.
That's what we need. Yes.
And Melchester Model Railway as well. So we've got
Brilliant.
a few coming in.
That's what we want, because that way we can show them off. I can easily just grab that piece and then just put it in. You see.
Brilliant. Right. Yeah, we've got a few here as well.
I am sorry. It's because I'm talking now. It really sets off the virus.
Right, so there's a couple of links coming, and this is great. Thanks, guys, sharing links to your videos as well. This is really great to see, and I always love seeing what other people are up to, and it's why actually on the Facebook groups there's a lot of Facebook groups which are really good. Whilst Zoe's hacking her lungs up. Really good for just seeing what other people are up to and getting inspiration. Quite often, it's something you can get a lot of inspiration from other people's layout ideas.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Have you knocked stuff off?
No, I was just putting one back. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other ones then. I'm going to bring us back up now at the back of Weir Yard. Is the camera still working? Yes, it is. So, let's have a look at some of the other URLs we've had sent in. Wow.
Is there another one of these somewhere that's fallen off? I feel like... No, there we go.
Okay, now...
Right, I can dispense with the silly kitty ears now.
You can, yes, and keep talking while I grab the other URLs that we need.
So, the Cupboard Monkey is just grabbing those extra URLs. It's great. Thanks for sharing these with us. And it's just, like I say, it's really great to see other people's model railways. And I think in this climate of everything getting locked down, it's nice to bring something to the community. It's almost like a virtual model railway exhibition.
That's exactly what I wanted it to be, yes.
And there are a lot of people who are doing stuff online, and it is great to see. So,
this one is
it's Adams Railway.
Yes, that's it.
So this one's come from Adams Railway, and I really do like that. Those sheds.
That is great.
I like the
textures
sheds.
are wonderful.
The sheds there. They
You have a big thing for sheds.
Yeah. So we've got a few more coming in. Don't
worry. We're gonna go through them.
We're gonna go run through some of these links as well, and this is really nice to see. I love that you've got quite a deep baseboard there. I also like the way you've got the different shades of ballast, because quite often you find the ballast in sidings can be quite dirty, quite grimy, but then you've got the mainline ballast is often a lot cleaner. So that is really nice to see. And they're the Hatton's Biohack snow plows, which
I like them. They've got a bit of character to them.
Yeah, I got to borrow. They lent me the Stratford Shark, which I did a review on, and then we used it during the filming for GMRC. Right. So they're special commission twin pack.
Are they more modern than what you go for? Are they your era, Jen?
More modern. I think the Biohacks are sort of late 80s. I want to say just inside the period, that kind of model. Oh, I like the sign. That London... Is that London...
I can't read it from here. Ah, they're custom weathered. Nice. But there again, the depth and that bridge at the back. That I love that, because it makes it feel like an actual world, you know?
Definitely, because you can't. I mean, it's one of the problems that I get up here is that when you're doing shots, you're trying desperately to not actually show the edge of the layout, but you've got a great depth there, which means that you can't see the edge of the layout. It's just, everything that's in shot is scenic, and that's really great. Adams Rail said London 350 miles. That is really nice, actually. Is that a kit or a scratch built? I really like that sign.
You want one, don't you?
I do, actually. I would love signs like that. Can't go for too much longer because I'm starving hungry.
I'll make you a pot noodle if you want.
Oh, noodle of potness. No, it's all right. Because I'm mindful that we've been online for an awful long time, and then maybe
it's 3 and a bit hours, yeah.
there may be other people planning on doing live streams. at
So,
some
well,
point.
let's have a look at a couple more
We'll do a
things.
couple more videos. So we'll go from the ones that are already posted in the links.
Yep. So I'm going to jump
So-
back to you now.
So, and these are great. I'm really enjoying seeing some of your layouts and sharing them. So, we've got. Let's have a look. Was it, I don't know what that error message was. So we're just
Don't worry about the errors.
we're just trying to bring up another channel. We're going to take a look at that, and there's some great modelling going on here, and it's nice to see. Did we just watch this one?
I may have, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've seen that one.
It's okay.
So
Climate Chairman 1.
for some reason, right.
It's alright, I'm just grabbing the bits I need.
But yeah, maybe we'll do this tomorrow as well. We've got the
Yeah, why not?
the sort of like trains running session tomorrow. So towards the end of that, maybe we will devote the last 30 minutes or so to some of the viewers' layouts and take a look at them. And I think it's really great to take a good look. So have we got another one up yet, or are we?
I'm still working, don't worry.
So the Cupboard Monkey is just technicalizing on various things.
Here we are. 57305 Northern Princess.
All right. So we are going over to 57305 Northern
The
Princess.
Virgin Trains Pretendolino.
I like the bridge. The bridge that's
That's a cool shot.
it is nice. I like the sort of the vertical depth with the retaining walls and the ballast, and the grass looks pretty good as well. Quite often grass can be quite tricky to get the right texture. Yeah, so you've got that skew bridge, a bit like I've got a skew bridge over there, but it's a really nice effect with the layout, the tracks on multiple levels. It works really, really well.
The thing about the grass that I'm seeing here, it's the same thing that you've done. It's multiple textures because grass isn't all one colour.
Yeah, and I always say to people, the texture is as important as the colour at times.
Yeah, because you're essentially feeling the layout with your eye. And if it doesn't...
That sounds weird and abrasive on your eye.
Yeah, I know. At the moment I said it, I thought, no, that just sounds wrong. But what I'm saying is that your eye notices that if something doesn't look real, it doesn't look real, and that's it.
Yeah, you see the texture.
Yes.
But yeah, that's really nice. And I like the way you've got these quite tight, restrained angles there with the tunnel and that really focuses the eye on the model.
That is wonderful. The depth, again, I'm a big fan of depth. I like things to look like they go on beyond what you can see.
Yeah, but I like that bit between the two tunnel mouths. It's a really nice way of just kind of showing off a model in a very tight environment.
Oh, yeah. The curve in the tunnel as well.
A full track tunnel mouth, that is pretty impressive.
You always find curves and things in tunnels dangerous though, don't you? Because you know that's where it's going to derail.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's straight or curved, it'll derail in a tunnel. It always knows the least accessible part of a layout.
That's why I convinced you to have the tops of those big ones on Trinity Road, where you could just take them off.
Yeah. I do like the girder bridges, it's... let's have a look. Zed Mark Anson says, how could I submit videos? If you come back to the we've got another one. Have we got one more queued up after this?
We'll queue up one more, and then I think you need to go because I'm starting to
we're starting to flag.
well.
So what I'm going to say is that tomorrow from 6 p.m. we're doing it.
Wait, guys, if you have layouts you want to show off and you want us to be ready with them tomorrow, send them to Jenny's Facebook page. The Jenny Kirk Facebook page where we've had all the links. If you use the messenger on there, just send it to us.
Yeah, if you send it me as a message on that page, then we
I
will
can get more
collate
queued.
those. And what we will do is we will effectively have a virtual model railway exhibition with your videos in much
at
the same.
that.
I love that.
That is brilliant. You love that kind of shot, don't you? Where it's things on top.
That is actually an amazing angle. I love that.
Yeah.
And it works so well, with the restricted view.
Yes.
So we got one more after, one more video after this, but it's It is really good. I'm loving this. So tomorrow, if you submit through my Facebook Messenger page a link to your YouTube video, we will try and collate them and get them ready. And then tomorrow, come for the train, stay for the chat, let everybody know. And we're going to have a big session from 6 p.m. because I know Sam's Trains is doing his regular live stream from 2, so obviously we're trying not to step on other people's toes, but we will provide that late afternoon, early evening opportunity to showcase some of your layouts as well as showing off a little bit of what we've got going on here.
Just your chance to sit back and relax and enjoy the choo-choos.
Yes, Leslie Gilpin says, I love the depth effect, and I'm totally there with you on that. Thank you, Combat Bunny. Just shared the link to the Facebook page.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
So we've got a few coming in, but like I said, that is really nice. That really is a nice. I'm impressed with that. Very, very impressed. So we've got one more queued up, and then if you want to send your layout links to the Facebook page, Combat Bunny has put the link on the chat there. Then we will collate them, and we can then be ready to put together a virtual model railway exhibition tomorrow. And actually, I'm really looking forward to this. This will be fun. But then we've been on the go since, actually, to be honest, we've been on the go since 10 o'clock this morning, lining up guests. And I hope you've really enjoyed, actually, some of the people we've been able to get on. We've had Fran Burke from Accurascale talking about the new Class 37-4 release coming out from them. And we posted up some links for that back then in the live stream, which take you through to both the Accurascale website and also the Rails of Sheffield website if you want to be able to order them. Also, we had Oliver Davies from Rails of Sheffield themselves, and it was great to have a chat with him. We talked about the South Eastern and Chatham Railway 3D printed van, exclusively announced on this channel to actually be available to order. It went live at 2 as we were speaking to Oliver Davies, and we posted up a link for that. And it was great to see this wagon finally backdated to the South Eastern and Chatham Railway livery. And then we spoke to James, who was one of the designers. That also I missed out Richard Brighton from DCC Concepts. It was really good to have a chat with him too. And finally, we had Sven from Train-O-Matic and Tramfabrik, and it was great to have a chat with him about the Train-O-Matic products too. So a big thank you to everybody who's been on, and this is the final video that we're showing Anfield train layout in the loft.
From Anfield, what gauge is this? Because that looks quite daring with some of the wobbles on the track. It's like it winds round. I don't know what you're putting in there, a hill or a lake, but that seems quite daring to me.
No, I think it's nice. It's giving. What you don't want with a model railway is lots of straight, neat lines.
I agree.
And it's breaking
absolutely
up that
agree.
symmetry.
But I would always be worried, like, can I get my stuff right? But I suppose if you're testing it out with a local that you're already running, then
also sometimes I know from myself, if you've got a lot of curved track left over, when you're building a layout, you don't want it to go to waste, so you use it for various bits and pieces.
I suppose, yeah. So that looks like it's coming along quite nicely. It's got lots of different levels. Is that MDF or plywood or something that he's using for the base?
It might be cardboard as well.
There's a lot going on here. Whoa.
Yeah, and nice to see. Good use of super quick buildings there as well. Really nice.
And he's doing the same thing you did, using the styrofoam.
Yeah,
that's a good way of doing stuff. It makes it light.
Light but strong.
Yes.
It's a really great way of doing it, and it looks like you've got a great setup there. You've got a lot of stuff in the space, and certainly it's coming along nicely there. And
it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, you've actually got a really great amount of space. There's a lot going on, and I can see you're having a great deal of fun there putting all that together.
Oh,
and I like the bridge.
I like the gardens. Are there going to be gardens in there?
I love the bog roll dispenser. In this current climate, that is really...
Oh my goodness, he's rich in this climate.
Yeah.
The new currency is toilet roll.
That must be 15 quid's worth of bog roll right there. But yeah, there's a lot going on. The bridge that we just caught sight of is just behind the camera.
Do you want me to go back a bit?
No. We'll probably come to it in a bit. But steel track, 00 gauge steel track.
Wow.
That
is quite impressive.
There's a lot set up there. That is great. And one thing I might suggest is if you get yourself some cheap water-based blue paint, like a light blue paint, almost verging on towards the white, and you paint all that cardboard there, it will give you a really good basis for a back scene. Because that's kind of what I did up here. Was I painted all of the plywood in a really light blue, and as you can see there now behind me, it's basic, but it gives you that backdrop for the model. But look, I'm going to have to say goodbye to everybody now. I am absolutely famished, actually. We're going to go downstairs and pig out on... you have to be very creative in this day and age, because...
so today, because of the problems with the supermarket, we're having cardboard in a water-based soup.
No, we're having tinned chickpeas on toast. Except it's not toast, it's potato waffles, because somebody had all the bread before we got there. But look, it's been great having your company. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And also you tune in tomorrow from 6 PM. We're going to be having our virtual model railway exhibition type thing. So don't forget to post up links to your YouTube videos to the Jenny Facebook page. If you send it as a message, the Cupboard Monkey will collate all of those. We'll get them queued up in advance, and then we can showcase more of your great model layouts. But until next time, a big thank you to everybody that we've had on as guests, and a big thank you to you guys for watching. And you stay safe in this strange climate that we live in, and hopefully you've all got plenty of bog roll, and you're not too low on milk. But look, you take really good care of yourself. And I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
And this is the awkward bit where I have to try and find the button.
Yeah, you press that button.
Bye.
Bye.